Chapter 132. Many experts gritted their teeth and gathered their strength, circulating their majestic battle chi. Their auras surged as they prepared to expend another wave of battle chi to prepare their second killing move. Rip! The wind whistled. A green light flashed across the sky and fell from the sky. A young silver-robed figure broke through the smoke and dust, and the domineering azure dragon claw violently hit the skull of the skeleton general. Bang! The earth-shattering collision sounded like a meteorite crashing to the ground. The airflow collapsed in an instant. The azure dragon claw slapped the skeleton general that was about to counterattack, and the sound of bones cracking could be heard from its body. Break! The azure dragon claw spun in the air, and Lin Chun twisted the skeleton general's head off on the spot, taking the attribute light ball at the back of its head. Host received 50,000 rune energy. Divine Wilderness 9 Arts. Light's Fury. The white light in his palm was dazzling, and it gathered into a ball of battle chi. Lin Chun, who was spinning in the air, threw it out angrily. With a light's fury, the other skeleton general at the end of its flight was also blasted to pieces, and a runic energy attribute light ball rolled down. Lin Chun calmly put away the second attribute light ball. Then, he put away the azure dragon claw and faced the crowd with a calm expression. He patted the dust off his shoulder and pointed at the world. Everyone, your cooperation is not bad. This handsome guy is very pleased. I hope that in our next adventure, we can also perform such a beautiful combination technique. Seeing Lin Chen's smug look, some of the Heaven's Strength Realm experts were furious. The veins on their foreheads were exposed, and they gritted their teeth. Combination technique, my ass. You little loudspeaker. Do you have no shame at all? You brat made picking up heads sound so clear-headed and refined. Where's your shame? Where's your shame? Where's your shame? I suddenly feel like killing this brat. Count me in. I've never seen someone so shameless. If we give him a few more years, won't he be riding on our heads? Brotherly, forget it. Don't be rash. After all, this brat killed so many skeleton soldiers for us. He saved us a lot of energy. Let him go. Among the many experts, only a few experts realized the crux of the problem. Yun Manqing's master, the gray-robed old woman, slowly raised her head and looked into the sky. Her old eyes narrowed and a bright light flashed across them. I didn't sense him at all when he charged down from the sky. That's a distance and position that can't be reached by a movement technique. Yun Manqing and Ling Ziki looked at each other. The anticipation in the former's beautiful eyes grew stronger. Lin Chun was empty-handed. Under everyone's gazes, he found Bai Ruoyan and Ling Yueqi in the crowd. Why are you always the center of attention wherever you go? Aren't you afraid of getting into trouble? Can't you keep a low profile? Ling Yueqi's face was frosty as she shouted coldly. This mission concerned her entire life. She did not want her team to become the target of public criticism and lose this one and only chance. I also want to keep a low profile. However, his strength did not allow him to do so. Even if my strength allows it, I, handsome Zhang, won't allow it. Sigh, this damned handsomeness. Being too handsome is so annoying. Lin Chen's 3 consecutive sighs made Ling Yueqi so angry that she almost attacked him on the spot. It was Bai Ruoyan who spent a lot of effort to calm her down. With your temper, I really wonder how you managed to survive until now. Bai Ruoyan rolled her eyes at Lin Chen. She was so beautiful that he shuddered and looked at the sky gloomily. Maybe it's because I'm handsome. The 2 girls, the 2 skeleton generals, fell to the ground. The entrance to the secret passage at the end of the ancient palace was unobstructed. However, no one dared to take the lead. In this strange environment without any spirit chi, the range and distance that could be explored was very limited. If an emergency happened in the secret passage, no one could guarantee that they would be able to retreat safely. Cough, cough, cough. Since everyone is more cautious, let this old man and the others take the lead. At this moment, a kind-looking old man in linen clothes slowly walked out with a walking stick. Beside him, there were 5 heaven realm old men, 3 men and 2 women. Moreover, they were all very young. They looked like they were in their early 30s. When the old man in linen clothes appeared, the expressions of the demon-faced swordsman and Yun Manqing changed. It's old ghost Tianji. I didn't expect him to come to the evil king's secret realm this time. This old guy is actually not dead yet. I'm afraid he came for that thing. I didn't expect the spiritual state's older generation to come out as well. It seems that we only need to follow them on this trip to have some soup to drink. The heaven realm experts from the spiritual state all had ulterior motive. Lin Chen narrowed his eyes. He recognized the old man's identity as a fortune teller at first glance. At the same time, his purple gold eyes also detected a bit of dangerous aura coming from the secret passage. Therefore, he definitely wouldn't take the lead. Elder Tianji's expression gradually turned serious as he stared at the entrance of the secret passage. He grasped the air with one hand, and an otherworldly painting scroll floated in the air. Elder Tianji held a brush with one hand and used blood as ink to decorate the painting scroll. The brush danced quickly, and a mysterious ancient diagram was quickly drawn from the painting scroll. Other than the person involved, no one would be able to understand the obscure and profound lines. The brush suddenly stopped and decorated the heavenly secrets. The seal rotated and the qi gathered, and the soul traveled through the painting scroll. Elder Tianji pushed the painting scroll forward with both hands. Ripples of light flashed out of the painting scroll and spun rapidly in the air. The heavenly secrets of the world for eternity. The immortal guides the way to detect danger. The heavenly flowers show supernatural power. Using the Lord's technique to peek at the path to immortality. The heavenly brush floated in the air. Without anyone controlling it, the quaint heavenly brush began to draw on the painting scroll automatically. It moved swiftly, dazzling the onlookers. This must be the fortune teller's life tool. This old senior's level is like heaven and earth compared to Yanjiwen, whom I met before. The difference between the bright moon and the firefly is like the difference between heaven and earth. Lin Chen was shocked. Through his purple gold eyes, he could even see some obscure threads formed by the heavenly secrets of the heavens and earth being gathered by this Elder Tianji. The brush stopped and the scroll fell. Elder Tianji quickly put away the painting scroll and carefully peeked at the contents of the painting scroll. The 5 young men and women protected him with all their attention. Ha! Good, the heavens reward those who work hard. A mere mechanism is nothing. Let's go. After Elder Tianji observed the contents of the painting scroll, he laughed wildly. Leaning on his walking stick, he took the lead to enter the secret passage with the 5 people. The rest of the Heaven Dipper realm experts looked at each other and followed closely behind. Let's go too. Bai Ruoyan looked solemn. Lin Chen suddenly pulled her soft hand and smiled mysteriously. Sister Ruoyan, don't worry. The show hasn't started yet. Why? Bai Ruoyan was puzzled. She didn't want to miss the opportunity to find the black and white universe fruits first. Have you forgotten who I am? Lin Chen smiled cheekily. Bai Ruoyan suddenly understood. Looking at the unruly Lin Chen, Ling Yueqi was helpless and could only wait for orders. After most of the people entered, in less than 15 minutes, a deafening explosion came from the secret passage. Chapter 133. There's a mechanism inside? How did you know? Ling Yueqi looked at Lin Chen curiously. The latter replied in an infuriating manner. You want to know? Give me a kiss and I'll tell you. The former's expression instantly turned extremely cold, and a cold and beautiful smile appeared on her cold and arrogant face. Is that so? Bring your face closer. Lin Chen was so frightened that he took a few steps back. At this moment, a round of applause sounded. You're indeed a genius. It seems that my disciple Manqing didn't misjudge you. Following you is the wisest choice. Young man, may I ask where your teacher is from? Which sect are you from? What's your name? The gray-robed old woman and a group of people walked to Lin Chen's side, and the former asked with a kind smile. Oh, my name is Lin Chen. I'm from the Black Horse Club, and I'm the club's top dog. I'm self-taught, and people call me Shirliji. People call me Handsome Little Black Dragon, and I'm extremely handsome with a black spear in the waves. May I ask what advice you have for me, senior? Lin Chen cupped his fists and said a bunch of flowery things, but he didn't reveal any details. Senior sister, these two sisters are so beautiful. You have to work hard. Suddenly, Ling Ziki, who was beside the old woman, smiled mischievously. If you talk any more, I'll sew it up later. Yun Manqing was embarrassed and angry. Her cheeks were flushed, and she glanced at Lin Chen from the corner of her eyes. Seeing that Lin Chen wasn't willing to reveal any details about himself, the gray-robed old woman smiled. Lin Chen is indeed an extraordinary person. I won't beat around the bush. This shrine is extremely dangerous, and having more allies means more help. We can split whatever we get in the shrine equally. How about we work together? Lin Chen shook his head and waved his fingers. No need. Senior, your side is powerful. Other than my good looks, I don't have any other advantages to work with you. The two purple-robed youths behind the old woman were so angry that their veins popped out. Why is this person so shameless? After speaking, Lin Chen counted with his fingers. There's still one breath left. 2 more explosions. Rumble! Just as Lin Chen finished speaking, 2 more earth-shattering explosions came from the secret passage. All right, Sister Ruoyan, let's go. With a smile on his face, Lin Chen waved his hand and led the 2 girls into the secret tunnel. What an amazing person! The gray-robed old woman's eyes lit up and she waved her hand. Let's follow him. Lin Chen and the other 2 passed through the secret passage without any obstructions. All the traps inside had been completely triggered. The 3 of them followed closely behind the main group and did not encounter any danger at all. Their strength was preserved the most. After passing through the secret passage and arriving at the second temple, the atmosphere was completely different. Inside the second temple, the light was dazzling and colorful. In the space that was devoid of spiritual energy, there stood a towering ancient tree that was full of vitality. It was deeply rooted in the center of the temple. The towering ancient tree had white branches and black leaves, looking very mysterious. The branches were swaying with vitality, and the entire body was covered with streamlined lines, flowing with unprecedented vitality. It was more than 10,000 feet tall, with lush leaves, like an ancient civilization's relic. On the pure white branches there were black and white fruit. Upon closer inspection, there were more than 100 of the 2 fruits. All the Heaven Star Border Realm cultivators held their breaths and stared at the black and white fruits on the ancient tree. At this moment, the atmosphere became tense and tense. Even Bai Ruoyan, who had just arrived at the temple, could not calm down her heart. This was the only black and white universe tree in the Earth Emanation's Evil King's secret realm. At this moment, all the Heaven Star Border Realm cultivators showed their claws, fangs, murderous intent, and desire. This item had a godly effect on Heaven Star Border Realm cultivators. The white universe fruit could reconstruct one's cultivation or break through one's cultivation. Those who consumed it could break through a realm below Heaven Star Border Realm Stage 6. There were no restrictions on consumption, and it could be consumed repeatedly. This was a fatal temptation to any Heaven Star Border Realm cultivator present. Every realm in the Heaven Dipper realm required dozens or even hundreds of years to advance a single step. Countless heroes and heroes stopped at the Heaven Dipper realm. The breakthrough of a realm was not only an increase in strength, but it also meant the extension of one's lifespan. One could live for hundreds or thousands of years. Although the Black Universe fruit was slightly inferior, it was still a divine item for body refinement. To a body refinement martial artist, it was a treasure, and its value was comparable to countless fifth-tier treasures. Ha! I, Tianji, am destined to borrow another 2,000 years from the heavens. Tianji Elder, who had always been calm, could not suppress the ecstasy in his heart and laughed wildly. Snatch it! This is the only chance to break through to Heaven's Star Border Realm, Stage 5 in my lifetime. Many of the older generation Heaven's Star Border Realm cultivators were roaring in their hearts. This battle might be the last burning of their martial arts life. Battle Chi soared, and the light illuminated the entire temple. All the cultivators seemed to have gone crazy. Figures crisscrossed, and everyone rushed to the black and white universe tree as if they were injected with chicken blood. The battle chi and trump cards that were kept in the first round of the ancient temple were all brought out at this time. 8-step ghost shadow, cloud crane soaring dragon, 9 shadow stars, wind chasing moon, and 3-minute instant shadows, which were rarely seen in the eyes of ordinary people, were frequently used by many Heaven's Star Border Realm cultivators. Any one of them was enough to cause an uproar in the outside world. The battle started instantly. Surrounding the black and white universe tree, many Heaven's Star Border Realm cultivators quickly fought. All kinds of precious and rare elixirs were crazily stuffed into their mouths at this time as if they were free. The battle only entered a fierce battle in the blink of an eye. I got it! I got the white universe fruit! A Heaven's Star Border Realm old man who killed his way out of the encirclement cut off the universe tree branch. When he got the white universe fruit in one hand, he could not help but roar in excitement. When he was about to keep it in the spirit receiving ring, 2-finger radiances tore through the air and penetrated his arm directly. The arm holding the white universe fruit suddenly fell. Just as the 2 black-robed old men caught it, a saber radiance of the evil dragon soaring dragon swallowed the mountains and rivers, came from the sky and slashed the 2 of them back again. Similar scenes were crazily staged around the black and white universe tree. Everyone was in a killing frenzy just for the black and white universe fruit. In less than 10 breaths of the battle, there were already Heaven's Star Border Realm cultivators who were besieged and killed on the spot. The top experts who were usually placed in the 24 domains could only sleep here at this time. It's crazy. This is the road of martial arts. One person's success is built on thousands of dead bodies. Ling Ziki, who was following behind the old woman in gray, was so scared that her pretty face turned slightly pale. Even though she had an extraordinary background, it was the first time she saw so many Heaven's Star Border Realm cultivators fighting in such a chaotic battle. On the other side, Lin Chun activated his purple-golden eyes. He did not act immediately, but observed the entire black and white universe tree. Since I want to snatch, I will snatch the best one. The moment the purple phoenix wings unfolded from Lin Chen's back, the old woman in gray at the side suddenly changed her expression. Chapter 134. Lin Chen held onto the 2 girls and flew up furiously with his purple phoenix wings, leaving behind a stream of purple flames in the air. Almost in the blink of an eye, all the experts were shocked by Lin Chen's sudden burst of speed. It was different from everyone present. The speed of Lin Chen's true flame purple phoenix wings mainly depended on the strength of his flesh shell and body refinement. Battle chi cultivation was secondary. It was not affected by the depletion of spirit chi at all. No matter if it was in the evil king's secret realm or in the divine palace, these many restrictions were equivalent to nothing to the true flame purple phoenix wings. Phoenix wings? An Earth realm martial artist can actually grasp such a profound life secret treasure. This kid's foundation is really terrifying. The gray-robed old woman's eyes flashed. While everyone's attention was attracted by Lin Chen, she suddenly took action with her 4 disciples. Quick, stop him. He wants to snatch the highest quality black and white heaven fruit on the heaven essence tree. The ghost-faced swordsman who was standing on the black and white heaven essence tree was shocked. He pulled out his sword and slashed out dozens of sword shadows, attacking Lin Chen. The Heaven Dipper Realm martial artists, who were standing on the black and white Heaven Essence Tree, all attacked Lin Chen at the same time. Even Tianji Lauren was no exception. If I was afraid of your attacks, I wouldn't be flying in the sky to be your live target, Lin Chen laughed mockingly. The true flame purple phoenix wings flapped continuously, turning 360 degrees in the air, rotating back and forth in opposite directions, dodging all the attacks that were attacking him. What? So fast? Everyone turned pale with fright. Lin Chen's speed was actually comparable to a Heaven Dipper Realm martial artist. In the pursuit of the White Blaze Aurora Stone earlier, 17 Heaven Dipper Realm martial artists surrounded Lin Chen, but almost all of them returned empty-handed. In this depleted spirit chi environment, no one could touch him at all. There were also some martial artists who had flying weapons similar to what Yu Linlin had used, but almost no one would use it in this kind of situation. It was because those support-type battle weapons were only suitable for Disha Realm cultivators. In an environment where experts were as common as clouds, if one's speed was not fast enough, one would only become a live target for everyone. Lin Chen charged to the summit of a distance of over 2,000 feet in the time of 2 breaths, unimpeded and unimpeded. At the top of the black and white Heaven Essence Tree, there were dozens of black and white branches and leaves, which were shaped like trays, holding 2 pairs of black and white Heaven Essence fruit. These 2 pairs of black and white Heaven Essence fruits had a deep color and a dim light circulated around them. The energy fluctuations they released were the most intense among all the black and white Heaven Essence fruits present. When the experts who had climbed to the top saw that Lin Chen was so close to the 2 pairs of black and white Heaven Essence fruits, their faces turned pale and they all shouted no in their hearts. A black and white beam of light shot out from the leaf tray like lightning. Lin Chen's pupils shrank, and he instantly unleashed his Celestial Dipper Battle Chi. Bam! Powerful aftershocks surged in the void and spread from over 2,000 feet to the ground, stirring up a gale like a huge explosion. In the void, Lin Chen was bounced back over 200 meters, and the biting cold ice shards fell from the void. "Are you all right?" Bai Ruoyan, whose hand was held by Lin Chen, looked at him worriedly. Lin Chen smiled and nodded. "I'm fine. I just didn't expect this plaything to have developed a trace of consciousness." If it wasn't for Bai Ruoyan and Ling Yueqi's timely defense, Lin Chen's Celestial Dipper Battle Chi alone wouldn't be enough to withstand the counterattack of the black and white Heaven Essence Tree. Ha 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 ha. Kid, you didn't expect this, right? The core of the Heaven Essence Tree is protected by its own consciousness. Do you think you can take the best black and white Heaven Essence fruits just because you want to? Are you surprised? Are you surprised? The ups and downs of life are really unimaginable. All the experts burst into laughter of ridicule. Lin Chen looked up to the sky and let out a long sigh. Yes, it's really a surprise, a surprise. However, if we don't see the result of these ups and downs, how can we know who will have the last laugh? Lin Chen pushed the void horizontally and placed the 2 women at a distance of 2,000 feet from the Heaven Essence Tree. Then, a dazzling aurora like a star was released from Lin Chen's hand. All the experts were about to fight, but they were attracted by this aurora. 3 fist-sized incandescent aurora stones floated above Lin Chen's palm. The light energy flowing within them caused all the experts present to feel astonished. This kid actually has incandescent aurora stones? Good heavens, this kid really has a lot of good things. After taking this white Heaven Essence fruit, we might as well kill him along the way. All the experts stared greedily at the incandescent aurora stones in Lin Chen's hand. Only a few Celestial Dipper Realm experts looked as if they had seen a ghost. What the F***ck? This kid, don't tell me he's... Before he could finish his words, a naive smile appeared on Lin Chen's childish face. He activated his Thunder Battle Chi and threw out the incandescent aurora stones floating in his palm. They turned into 3 meteors and fell into the top branch tray of the black and white Heaven Essence Tree. Time seemed to be frozen at this moment. More than 100 Celestial Dipper Realm experts hadn't figured out what Lin Chen wanted to do. When he threw out such a precious treasure like the incandescent aurora stones, an earth-shattering explosion reverberated through the entire temple from the sky. Bang! Boom! Boom! Dazzling light rays like a new sun shone down from the sky. The airflow reversed, the wind raged, and a mushroom cloud rose in the void. When everyone looked over again, they couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. The branches and leaves around the black and white heaven essence tree were all blown up. Looking from afar, the top of the black and white heaven essence tree seemed to have been torn apart. It was ferocious and ferocious. What made the experts even more dumbfounded was that the 3 incandescent aurora stones evaporated into thin air. It's gone? The strange energy, or comparable to a Tier 5 mid-grade weapon, was actually gone after an explosion? Before everyone could react, Lin Chen took out another 5 incandescent aurora stones. This time, I'll give you a bigger one. Let's see how hard this broken thing of yours is. Can you be harder than me? The 5 incandescent aurora stones were shot out like cannons in Lin Chen's hand, as if they were free. Bang! 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 A series of earth-shattering explosions sounded again. This power was not inferior to the full attack of a Celestial Dipper Realm Stage 1. I'll let you sneak attack me. Damn it, I can't blow you up. For heaven's sake, isn't it just a few broken fruits? Trash. When I blow you up, I'll skin you alive and eat you on the spot. You little loudspeaker, are you going to open it or not? Are you going to open it or not? Following Lin Chen's string of curses, a large number of incandescent aurora stones were thrown out crazily by him. It was either 3 or 5 stones each time. What the F***ck is going on? All the Celestial Dipper Realm experts felt their scalps tingle. Some even froze on the spot and even forgot to snatch the black and white heaven essence fruits. Chapter 135. Those were incandescent aurora stones. Each of them contained extremely rare light energy, and they were essential materials for forging top-tier weapons. Just one of them was priceless. Not to mention the 24 domains, even in the entire spiritual state, the appearance of incandescent aurora stones would cause a huge uproar. Such a precious top-notch treasure was actually treated like a roadside stone by a young man who was not even 18 years old? How could he blow it up and throw it away as he wished? What kind of background did he have to have such wealth? Was it a hidden sect or family? An ancient giant force? Even the ancient giant force couldn't afford to squander it like this. This could no longer be described as a reckless waste of God's gift. It was simply deranged and infuriated by both men and gods. That's not right. How come he still has so many incandescent aurora stones? This kid only had 30 or so left after he blew them up last time. Could it be that there was something else under the lake? F***ck. That must be it. What a loss. What a loss. We've been screwed. The Heavenly Star Border Realm Masters who chased after Lin Chen suddenly realized what was going on. They slapped their thighs and stomped their feet in anger. His expression was one of annoyance and regret, as if he had eaten shit. If they hadn't chased after Lin Chen, these large amounts of incandescent aurora stones would have been theirs. This was a huge loss to their ancestors. This Lin Chen has blown up at least 120 incandescent aurora stones. The gray-robed old woman's face trembled. This was an unimaginable amount of wealth for any sect in the spiritual state. Ling Ziqi's cherry lips opened slightly. The man that senior sister fell in love with was truly unique in the spiritual state. Yun Manqing stared at the young man's back with infatuation. Although he was a bit flirtatious when he was chased by the Heavenly Star Border Realm Masters, the way he threw the incandescent aurora stones was so cool. While Lin Chen caused an unprecedented shock, Lung Yuechi and Bai Ruoyan seemed to have a tacit understanding and stole 2 white qian fruits from high above without anyone noticing. Bang! The black and white qian yuan tree, which was over 20,000 feet tall and shaped like a mountain, was on the verge of collapsing. Lin Chen detonated 10 incandescent aurora stones for the last time, tearing a shocking crack on the black and white tray. The host has received 10,000 light energy points, 9,500 light energy points, 8,800 light energy points. Dazzling light attribute balls of light floated in the air. At the same time that Lin Chen snatched them, the purple phoenix wings rolled out a stream of purple flames and abruptly broke into the black and white trays, snatching away 2 pairs of black and white universe fruits. Lin Chen held the 2 pairs of qian yuan fruit. The energy flowing in his palms made him feel a lingering fear. There were 2 black heaven origin fruits and 2 white heaven origin fruit. These 2 pairs of heaven origin fruits were of the highest quality within the entire heaven origin tree. Treasure! It wasn't a waste for me to blow up nearly 300 incandescent aurora stones in one go. It wasn't a waste at all. Lin Chen laughed heroically. He spread his purple phoenix wings and flew to Bai Ruoyan's side at an extremely fast speed. He handed the 2 white heaven origin fruits of the highest quality to Bai Ruoyan. Sister Ruoyan, this is just a small token of my appreciation. Lin Chen laughed mischievously without a care in the world. Seeing that he actually snatched the 2 white heaven origin fruits of the highest quality and gave them to her immediately, a rare ripple appeared in Bai Ruoyan's heart. She received them seriously. Thank you, little brother Lin Chen. I won't forget this kindness. Everyone knew the value of the white heaven origin fruit. For him to give them to her so easily, this favor could not be said to be small. Seeing Bai Ruoyan so serious for the first time, Lin Chen actually felt a little embarrassed. He scratched his head and said with a smile, "It's still too early to say thanks. After all, we're going to be targeted by everyone." After saying that, Lin Chen turned around and saw a group of people rushing towards them under the black and white heaven origin tree's branches. The leader of the group was Elder Tianji, followed by the ghost-faced swordsman and the others who had a conflict with Lin Chen. There were also 4 or 5 lone heaven star border realm experts. Kill this brat and snatch his phoenix wings. This old man will definitely not give up the highest quality white heaven origin fruit. This group of people were like hungry wolves pouncing on their prey. There was only violent battle intent and greed in their eyes. Leave that group of people with Elder Tianji to me. I've taken the white heaven origin fruit, so their target should be me. You guys retreat first or find a chance to counterattack. Bai Ruoyan carefully kept the white heaven origin fruit and smiled elegantly. Are you sure? Sister Ruoyan, your cultivation hasn't fully recovered yet. While Lin Chen was surprised, the beauty smiled sweetly. Her beauty was peerless. Little brother Lin Chen, when sister was unhindered in the 9 prefectures, Heaven Star border realm experts could be destroyed with a wave of my hand. Bai Ruoyan quietly turned into a wisp of smoke. Her movement technique was so profound that even Lin Chen's purple-gold eyes could not see through it. Boom! Chi-chi! Colorful battle aura swept across the horizon. Bai Ruoyan was facing Elder Tianji and the other Heaven Star border realm experts at a position of more than 1,800 feet from the black and white heaven origin tree. Don't let this woman go. She took the highest quality white heaven origin fruit. Destroy her! Elder Tianji shouted and took out his fortune-teller's life artifact, the eternal scroll of heaven's secret. His heavenly brush danced like dragons and phoenixes, drawing a scroll of words from the void. It suppressed the heavens and suppressed the world, trying to seal Bai Ruoyan's movements. You don't even have a heaven-tier fortune-teller, yet you dare to speak so arrogantly. Bai Ruoyan was calm. A wisp of golden light quietly flickered in her eyes. With a light flick of her slender fingers, 3 finger lights easily tore apart Elder Tianji's eternal scroll of heaven's secrets. What kind of battle technique is this? Quick attack. Elder Tianji was terrified and panicked. The Heaven Star Border Realm experts around him surrounded him. Bai Ruoyan's white sleeves swayed, and her fingers flicked continuously. She fought against so many experts alone and still had the upper hand. The 3 Heaven Star Border Realm experts that came later also joined the battle. Bai Ruoyan fought against 8 alone, and the battle was earth-shattering. The aftermath of the collision easily crushed everything within 100 feet. So powerful. Looks like Sister Ruoyan was holding back previously. Since that's the case, I have to take out some trump cards. Just as Lin Chen was rubbing his hands, eager to take out the remaining incandescent aurora stones, he was suddenly stunned. A shocking and bold idea appeared in Lin Chen's mind again. He couldn't help but reveal a childlike innocent smile, smiling like a child. Ling Yueqi saw this scene from the side, and felt an inexplicable lingering fear in her heart. This fellow also smiled like this when he first saw the incandescent aurora stones. Legend has it that this Black Heaven origin fruit is a supreme-grade body refinement item. It just so happens that I've reached a bottleneck in body refinement. The Azure Dragon Arm just so happens to be the opportunity for a breakthrough. Today I want to see what kind of top-grade technique it is. The 2 Black Heaven origin fruits floated in Lin Chen's palm. The quietly throbbing energy within the fruits seemed to have a life of its own, extremely mysterious. Could it be that he is thinking of? Ling Yueqi was shocked. Her cold and arrogant face was filled with astonishment and shock. She was about to speak. Chapter 136. Crunch. Lin Chen took a bite and swallowed 2 dark heaven origin fruits in just a few bites. The moment he chewed and swallowed the Black Heaven origin fruit, 2 majestic and vast energies were like 2 flood dragons. They were on the verge of bursting out of Lin Chen's body and overturning the seas and rivers. Roar! 2 green dragons roared angrily. Streaks of glazed dragon light started to circulate from Lin Chen's left arm, going straight to the white halo in his dantian. The glassy dragonlight was like an even more powerful and majestic dragonlight. It suppressed the 2 energy flood dragons, forcibly dragging them into the white ring of light in his dantian. And oh my god, this feels good. Lin Chen's eyes turned white, smoke came out of his nostrils, and his whole body twitched. His physical strength was like a hot knife through butter, breaking through bit by bit. He actually ate the Dark Heaven origin fruits? He's crazy. Even a body-refining expert who has reached the level of dragon force wouldn't dare to act recklessly. Don't worry, let's kill him first and then cut open his stomach. The energy of the Dark Heaven origin fruits is extremely overbearing and vast. With his small body, it's impossible for him to absorb it in a short period of time. He even ate 2 of them. He's simply courting death. The ghost-faced swordsman Ling Junfeng couldn't help but sneer. He pulled out the sword in the scabbard, and a rotating sword qi lingered in the scabbard. Ghost-faced swordsman Ling Junfeng, right? Today, I'd like to see the level of the peripheral bloodline of the Ling family. An ice arrow cut through the cold ice line in the void, and passed between Ling Junfeng's eyebrows at an extremely fast speed. Releasing cold air, Ling Junfeng's eyebrows slowly formed an ice flower. The former stared at Ling Yueqi in front of him with a dignified expression, and his voice was somewhat shocked and astonished. I didn't expect that you're also a member of the Ling family. I'd like to see which faction you're from. Let's see how my blood-red 3,000 swords will kill you, bitch. Trash from the peripheral faction dares to talk nonsense, you're courting death. The battle between Ling Yueqi and ghost-faced swordsman Ling Junfeng was about to start. The last 3 Heavenly Dipper sovereigns surrounded Lin Chen. The 3 of them had a tacit understanding. They were all Ling Junfeng's men. Both of their sleeves fluttered in the air as 6 venomous battle chi pythons appeared. Each of them was 50 zhang long. Poisonous gas sparkled as they appeared out of nowhere and strangled Lin Chen. Power, my entire body is filled with power! Lin Chen roared towards the sky. Without any technique, he punched out with his fist. The wind from his fist was tyrannical and fierce, directly crushing the two battle-chi venomous pythons. Bang bang bang! The other 4 viper battle-chi erupted like volcanoes and bombarded Lin Chen's chest, causing a series of explosions. The moment Lin Chen's celestial dipper battle-chi defense had just been unleashed, it was broken through and shattered on the spot. Other than that, nearly 50% of the energy was still inside his body. The impact of this energy actually formed a silent external force that helped Lin Chen push the Black Heaven Origin Fruit's energy a little further into his dantian. Ah! This is so King awesome! Lin Chen was so happy that his whole body was twitching. Although the energy from the Dark Heaven Fruit was absorbed by the white halo in his dantian and the Azure Dragon arm, even if a little bit of energy leaked out, the energy from the Dark Heaven Fruit was comparable to a top-grade marrow-cleansing elixir. His pores opened slightly. Lin Chen's meridians and bones were cleansed by part of the Dark Heaven Fruit's energy, causing the residual impurities hidden in his 8 extraordinary meridians, limbs, and bones to be discharged. Look, this brat is twitching all over from the beating. I'm rolling my eyes. Ah! He must be about to self-destruct because of the Dark Heaven Fruit. Let's work harder and directly extract the energy from the Dark Heaven Fruit. So smelly. This brat's shit was probably beaten out just now. Hit him, directly shatter him. The Heaven Dipper Realm leader rushed towards Lin Chen with a palm. The fiery energy in his palm was like a hurricane, shocking and suppressing the world. The 5 fingers overlapped and turned into a dragon claw, tearing out like lightning. Thousands of techniques were engraved on Lin Chen's body. There were tearing, twisting, spinning, pulling, and many other battle-chi techniques. Dozens of claw attacks were released in a breath, and Lin Chen was sent flying everywhere. The 3 Heaven Dipper realms attacked Lin Chen from all angles, but the force of each attack was helping Lin Chen push the Dark Heaven Fruit's energy into his dantian faster. Lin Chen's flesh shell was becoming more and more condensed. After the fine impurities were discharged from his pores, it began to sublimate rapidly. The 3 Heaven Dipper realms were puzzled. Why is this brat getting stronger and stronger? What a great fight! Next, it's my turn. Lin Chen suddenly opened his eyes from his defensive posture. The young man's overbearing smile was like a king looking down on the world. He pushed out a palm with one hand and violently hit the chest of a Heaven Dipper realm elder, breaking his ribs on the spot. A few attribute light balls fell from the sky, and Lin Chen absorbed them into his body with a casual grab. What? So strong! The other 2 Heavenly Dipper sovereigns turned pale with fright as they frantically retreated. Lin Chen once again sent out a whip kick that was as sharp as a guillotine. The middle-aged Heavenly Dipper sovereigns activated his battle chi and condensed it into a prismatic light shield. Bang! Crack! Along with the prismatic light shield, that Heaven Dipper realm's leg bone was also shattered. He screamed in the air, but Lin Chen spread out his purple phoenix wings aggressively. His purple phoenix wings were 3 times bigger than before, and his speed was faster and fiercer. You 3 Heaven Dipper realms are ganging up on me, a defenseless young man, how shameless. There's a saying in my hometown, respect the old and love the young. Today, I'll respect the old properly. Lin Chen, who had spread out his purple phoenix wings, appeared behind the 3rd Heaven Dipper realm like a ghost. His right fist smashed explosively, his left knee struck ruthlessly, and his left elbow pierced like a dagger. Lin Chen was like a precise killing machine, violently beating the 3rd Heaven Dipper realm all the way. Some astute Heaven Dipper realms had already discovered that Lin Chen's pure strength was around 980,000 tiger power, which was almost the same as his green dragon arm. When they heard the words unarmed youth, the corners of many people's mouths twitched fiercely. You are unarmed, but every part of your body is countless times harder than King Black Iron. Looking at Lin Chen's battle again, many older Heaven Dipper realms were sweating profusely. 3 Heaven Dipper realms were surrounded and beaten up by Lin Chen alone. Even if they fell onto the branches of the Black and White Universe Tree, it was still the same. The most important thing was that not only was the pure strength of his flesh shell terrifying, but even his moves were incomparably vicious and insidious. Either he focused on the middle part of the person and hammered at the person's heart. Either he aimed at the person's lower part, and there would always be a leg-ending kick. Or he aimed at the person's upper part, piercing the eyes and deafening the ears. It was as ruthless as it could be. Piercing the eyes, kicking the person's crotch, hammering the person's chest, all in one go. More than 10 Heaven Dipper realms were sweating profusely. What the F***ck is this called respecting the old and loving the young? Then everyone present would probably be rewarded with the 3 Good Citizen Awards. Chapter 137. Awesome. Awesome, truly awesome. Beating up a Heaven Dipper realm. Damn it, this is a sure win deal. Ha! Lin Chen was laughing so hard that his mouth cracked. Their cultivation levels might be suppressed, but these old fellows were genuine Heaven Dipper realm experts. The attribute light balls that Lin Chen struck off from their bodies all had extremely high values. In the outside world, they were all peak-level experts whose names were immortalized throughout the ages and whose names shook the hearts of millions and millions of people. Outside the mystic realm, they were all Heaven Dipper realm 2nd and 3rd stage experts. In the desolate region, they were experts at the pinnacle of the pyramid and were almost equivalent to the college's bald elder and the vice principal. A 4th stage Earth realm martial artist beating up 3 Heaven Dipper realm 2nd and 3rd stage experts. If this was in the outside world, it was something that would never happen. On the contrary, they could kill Lin Chen with a single slap. Apart from the Dragon Race's ability and the limited number of Divine Desolation 9 arts, Lin Chen didn't even have the capital to fight with them. But in this mystic realm, especially in this Divine Palace Hall, they were Lin Chen's punching bags. They didn't even have the slightest bit of temper. Divine Desolation 9 arts, Light Fury. Seeing that his Battle Chi Essence attribute was about to be filled up and was about to break through to a new rank, Lin Chen's frenzied attacks were mixed with the Divine Desolation 9 arts. A light attribute energy ball that was over 100 feet in size suddenly fell down and bloomed into an energy storm that engulfed the entire Black and White Universe Tree. After destroying so many incandescent aurora stones, Lin Chen's light attribute energy value had already reached a terrifying figure of over 2 million points. A single light fury had severely injured 2 Heaven Dipper realm experts on the spot, causing them to almost lose their ability to move. Damn it, little bastard. I will fight it out with you today. That middle-aged Heaven Dipper realm expert with fierce eyes and sharp brows roared towards the sky. An unprecedented violent battle chi rushed out from his body and converged into a 300 feet long wild lion with an aura that could engulf the world. Heaven Dipper realm battle chi cultivation. This middle-aged man actually forcefully broke through his own cultivation seal in the mystic realm. This terrifying momentum instantly caused Lin Chen to focus. All the pores on his body were emitting warning signals. However, before he could mobilize his magnificent battle chi, a pitch-black thunderbolt tore open a space crack in the void and struck on his head, annihilating his battle chi on the spot. He himself was split in half by the black lightning and exploded, dying on the spot. Seeing this scene, some of the Heaven Dipper realm who wanted to unlock the cultivation suddenly put away this small idea, and panic and fear rose in their hearts. This was the heavenly might of the evil king's secret realm. Once a battle chi cultivator of the Heavenly Dipper realm or above appeared, they would be instantly killed. Host has received 3.84 million points of battle chi essence, 2.11,000 points of spiritual energy. After a few flashes, Lin Chen picked up all the attribute light balls. His battle aura that was about to be depleted was once again filled up. Not only that, it seemed that he was about to reach a new bottleneck. The higher the level of the cultivation method, the stronger the foundation. The difficulty of a breakthrough in cultivation would also increase. The spiritual energy in the shrine was exhausted. Wanting to break through in battle chi cultivation under such circumstances was as difficult as ascending to heaven. Even if Lin Chen killed a Heaven Dipper realm this time, the battle chi essence attribute light balls obtained were far from enough for him to break through a realm. Damn it, I can get so much battle chi essence from killing a Heaven Dipper realm. Lin Chen's eyes lit up, and a ruthless expression appeared between his brows. He turned to look at the other two Heaven Dipper realm cultivators with a savage smile. Oh no, this kid wants to kill us! Let's go. The two Heaven Dipper realm cultivators finally felt that something was wrong. They took a pill, and their battle chi nearly doubled. The speed of their movement techniques increased by a few notches. Little guy, you want to run? Do you think you're in a brothel? You can run just by pulling up your pants. Lin Chen laughed evilly and was about to activate the green dragon arm to counterattack. However, his eyes suddenly widened as if he had seen a ghost. Damn it! Where's my green dragon arm? Lin Chen rolled up his sleeves. At this time, his left arm was clean and clean. There was no green dragon tattoo from before. What's the situation? Where did my azure dragon arm go? I absorbed 2 black heaven origin fruit. Could it have grown wings and flown away? This time, Lin Chen couldn't care about the 2 Heaven Dipper realm cultivators who had escaped. He immediately began to check the situation in his dantian. In Lin Chen's dantian, in addition to the dazzling 9-colored battle soul surrounded by 4 chi rivers, there was a green light ring floating beside it. This green light ring was the white ring that Lin Chen had obtained on True Dragon Mountain. However, at this time, it was shining with a pale green flowing light. It was crystal clear and beautiful like a gem in the night sky. The most amazing thing was that Lin Chen also felt a life fluctuation similar to his own consciousness form inside. What's inside? Come out. Lin Chen suddenly opened his eyes. His battle chi led the green light ring in his dantian. At this moment, with Lin Chen as the center, it released a terrifying aura that could absorb the stars and disturb the nebula. Roar, roar, roar! The earth-shattering dragon roar swept through the entire black and white Qian Yuan tree like a raging tide. Just the terrifying sound wave of the dragon roar turned into a smoky air wave that slapped out. The momentum surpassed any battle that was going on. When all the Heaven Dipper realm cultivators looked over, they couldn't help but take a deep breath. It was more than 700 feet long. It was shaped like a long snake. It had 4 limbs and 5 claws. It had the head of a qilin, the tail of a carp, the antlers of a deer. It had a long beard and green jade-like scales. Its whole body was emitting a primitive aura that was surging. Its pupils were shining with green flowing light. It burst out a murderous aura and nobility that dominated all living things. Its shiny and sharp fangs were like ancient iron knives. The aura it exhaled was like a storm that swallowed the world. Its divine power was everywhere, and it was like a king descending to the world. All the cultivators were intimidated by its dragon power. All the battles stopped. The ancient azure dragon. This was a genuine ancient azure dragon. It wasn't a descendant of a bloodline, nor was it an illusion of a battle technique. It was a real ancient azure dragon with flesh and blood, containing dragon power and dominating the world. On the ancient azure dragon's head stood a young man in a silver robe. He crossed his arms in front of his chest. His childish face was cold and unruly, revealing a domineering aura that controlled life and death. This brat actually hid a pure-blooded ancient azure dragon in his body. What a domineering azure dragon! Its strength has already reached one dragon's strength. It has the power to match a real Heaven Dipper realm cultivator. Didn't they say that except for the level 5 ferocious beasts bred in the secret realm, any Heaven Dipper realm cultivator and level 5 ferocious beasts that sneak in would be obliterated? Oh my God! How did he do it? How did he bring such a huge, ancient, ferocious beast in? All the cultivators present were shocked. This ancient azure dragon could only be found outside the evil king's secret realm. Otherwise, even if they were out of the temple, none of them present would be able to fight it alone. Chapter 138. So the halo I obtained on the true Dragon Mountain is the life source that gave birth to the azure dragon. No wonder my azure dragon bloodline disappeared. It was all concentrated in the life source. I've made a fortune, I've made a fortune. Lin Chen stood on the dragon's head. He looked dignified and cold, but in fact, he was very happy. If there was no one present, he would throw his fists and roll around on the spot. The azure dragon's arm had already absorbed the huge amount of resources that Lin Chen gave it before entering the evil king's secret realm. This was the early stage of the azure dragon's energy condensation. After absorbing the basic energy, Lin Chen tried to swallow 2 Dark Heaven Origin fruit. Most of the Dark Heaven Origin fruit's life energy was absorbed by the azure dragon's life source in his dantian. Thus, this unprecedented ancient azure dragon was born. Because the azure dragon was born in the evil king's secret realm, the Heaven's Might Law in this secret realm had already regarded it as a natural ferocious beast born in this secret realm. It would not be restrained by the law at all. He's indeed the most special. Yun Manqing had already completely fallen. Her beautiful eyes stared at Lin Chen on the dragon's head, and only extreme adoration and worship were left in her eyes. Damn it! Now it's time for me to make a comeback! Lin Chen chuckled evilly. The moment he rolled up his sleeves, all the powerhouses present felt their hearts skip a beat. It's over. When this brat was respecting the old and cherishing the young, his method of greeting people was more ruthless than the previous one. Now, he was given an ancient azure dragon. Damn it! Lin Chen's gaze first turned towards Bai Ruoyan's direction. His smiling appearance made Bai Ruoyan cover her mouth and laugh lightly. Why is this younger brother Lin Chen so cute? How many trump cards does he have hidden? Bai Ruoyan smiled beautifully. When Elder Tianji and the other 7 Heaven Dipper realm experts heard this, their hearts instantly trembled. Cute? It was more like terrifying. Ancient Azure Dragon, King beat him up. How dare you bully Sister Ruoyan? Don't you know who's backing you? Beat this son of TCH up. Lin Chen decisively pointed at the 8 Heaven Dipper realms in Bai Ruoyan's direction. The ancient azure dragon angrily let out a roar and leaped into the air. Its dragon claws carried the power to pierce through the stars and shatter meteors as it furiously slammed down. Tianji Lauren and the other Heavenly Dipper realm cultivators were so scared that their faces turned pale. They instantly executed their movement techniques. Afterimages were everywhere as they leaped and dodged. All kinds of special skills and escape secrets were used. Bang! Rumble! The airflow collapsed and the branches cracked. Several gusts of wind swept across the entire army, exploding from the void. With this claw, the ancient azure dragon broke the 100-meter-thick branches of the Qian Yuan tree. Before those Heaven Dipper realm cultivators could react, the ancient azure dragon rolled its tail and swung it again. Rip! Pop! 2 Heaven Dipper realms had their battle chi defense shattered in midair, their liver and gallbladder ruptured, and they were on the verge of death by the azure dragon's tail. Their flesh and blood were badly mutilated. The ancient azure dragon continued to chase after the rest of the Heaven Dipper realms. It took the lead to lock onto Tianji Lauren and the rest. Lin Chen leaped into the air and jumped towards the 2 Heaven Dipper realms who were on the verge of death. He went up and gave them a round of respect the old and love the young fist. Most of the experts who were watching felt their scalps tingling. Attribute light balls flew all over the sky, and 2 treasure chests even dropped. Finally, lightning flashed and set off a clap of thunder. Lin Chen sent them on their way with a thunder explosion, letting them die happily. Host received 394 million battle chi essence, 301 million chi and blood energy, 500,000 cultivation technique essence. Host opened the secret silver treasure chest. Received 100,000 rune energy. Host opened the fine silver treasure chest. Received 100,000 dark energy. Host received 408 million battle chi essence, 69,000 spiritual power, 410,000 water energy. Lin Chen picked up crazily in the air, and the attribute value showed an unprecedented increase. The earth-shattering explosion sounded again. The ancient azure dragon had crushed a Heaven Dipper realm cultivator to death, and now it was still chasing after Tianji Lauren and the rest. There was no spiritual energy here, and the ancient azure dragon could only rely on its own strength to move. However, its speed was still the fastest in the area. If there was spiritual energy, the real azure dragon could ride the clouds and travel through the ground. Although the Heaven Dipper realm cultivators killed by the ancient azure dragon also dropped attribute light balls, because they did not belong to Lin Chen, the attribute light balls dropped were only half of what Lin Chen killed personally. Lin Chen, I'll fight you to the death. You little brat, come and fight me one-on-one if you have the ability. F***ck, what kind of ability are you, a mere azure dragon? What kind of man are you? Tianji Lauren and the rest were being chased by the ancient azure dragon, and they could only roar crazily. The azure dragon's defensive power and destructive power were directly proportional. The combat power they displayed in the shrine was not even 1% of their peak strength, and they could not break the azure dragon's defense at all. Even if they were out of the shrine and in a space with normal spiritual energy, the 5 of them could still contend with a real Heaven Dipper realm cultivator. However, in this godforsaken place where spiritual energy was depleted, it was already the best result that they were not killed immediately. This bunch of loudspeakers. These guys are trying to kill themselves. They're tired of living. Lin Chen's eyes were filled with murderous intent. He was just about to go and support Ling Yueqi, but this bunch of people provoked his anger. Killing one is killing, killing thousands is also killing. I'm afraid I won't have the chance to kill Heaven Dipper realm cultivators again in my life. Why should I be the good guy? Some of the experts had already seen the situation clearly. Lin Chen was the only one in control of the situation in the shrine. No one had the ability to protect themselves in front of him. Many of the experts who had obtained the black and white heaven fruits had already retreated from the battle and began to circle around the perimeter to recover. At the same time, they also invited each other to form a temporary alliance. Those who could come here were not ordinary people. If they could not see the situation clearly, they would be fish on the chopping board, waiting to be slaughtered. Lin Chen instantly joined the battle with Tianji Lauren and the rest. He waved his hand and ordered the ancient azure dragon to stop attacking. Which one of you said that you want to fight one-on-one? Come out and I'll fulfill your wish, you bastards. I'll fight him one-on-one. Lin Chen was overbearing and domineering. His words stunned the 5 Heaven Dipper realm cultivators. But soon they reacted. Tianji Lauren sneered, "Do you think I'll believe you? If you have the ability, keep the ancient azure dragon first." Lin Chen sneered disdainfully. With a thought, the ancient azure dragon turned into a ray of light and flew into Lin Chen's dantian, disappearing. Seeing the ferocious ancient azure dragon disappear from Lin Chen's body in a breath's time, many experts sighed in amazement. Does this brat really dare to fight one-on-one with us? He's still too young. We have to seize the opportunity this time. Who cares about him? In any case, He has already put away that azure dragon. When the duel starts, we will all attack together. We will use our strongest attacks and blast him into smithereens." Tianji Lauren's eyes flashed with cold, killing intent. Chapter 139. At least you're still a man. I was the one who asked for a one-on-one duel. Let me duel with you. A young man covered in blood walked out and stared at Lin Chen with a hideous smile. His face was pale and his skin was dry without a trace of blood. It didn't seem to match his real age. "Then come at me." Lin Chen curled his lips and said disdainfully. Just as he finished speaking, the other party flipped his hand, and a huge dark red axe that looked like it could split a mountain rose into the air. The force of 10,000 wild horses turned into a meteor falling from the sky and chopped down. His battle aura covered the mountains and rivers, and the wind and clouds suddenly changed. Blood Nether Hand, Rakshasa 10 Swords, Merciless Great Palm. Behind the young man who launched the attack, the 4 people led by Elder Tianji launched a fierce attack. The distance between them was very short. Even if Lin Chen reacted, he wouldn't have the time to escape. Many experts sneered in their hearts. Wasn't this Lin Chen too hot-blooded? Did he really think that he could duel with someone else? He actually let go of the best opportunity to kill his opponent. In the entire scene, only Bai Ruoyan was smiling elegantly. She knew that her brother Lin Chen wasn't someone who would be at a disadvantage. "You guys are standing together. That's saving me some time." Lin Chen smiled slyly. He opened his shoulders slightly and flipped his arms. The inextinguishable azure light was like the history of the dragon race evolving in the azure light. 2 azure dragon arms appeared. What? The jaws of the Heaven Dipper realms watching the battle almost dropped. What was going on? The 2 azure dragon arms had the power to pierce through mountains and rivers. They smashed all the attacks and even killed 5 Heaven Dipper realms with a single palm. The 5 of them used their limited battle chi to attack and didn't prepare for defense at all. In front of Lin Chen's azure dragon arms, they were as weak as tofu. They were smashed with a single slap. Lin Chen's ancient azure dragon had completely become a part of his body. Whether it was releasing the ancient azure dragon to fight or using the ancient azure dragon's power, he could do it with a single thought. It was as if they were naturally connected to each other. Lin Chen casually picked up the attribute light balls that filled the sky. His battle chi cultivation had forcefully rushed to the peak stage of the 4th level of the Earth realm. The thicker one's foundation was, the more difficult it would be to make a breakthrough. But this difficulty still couldn't stop Lin Chen. His cultivation broke through as the system screen popped up. Host has advanced to the 5th level of the Earth realm. In front of everyone, Lin Chen's cultivation had completely risen to the 5th level of the Earth realm. Some of the older generation Heaven Dipper realm experts felt their scalps go numb and were shocked. The spiritual energy here was so sparse. Where did he get the foundation to break through on the spot? He is actually already at the 5th level of the Earth realm. Yun Manqing, who had retreated to her master's side, stared blankly at Lin Chen. She clearly remembered that not long ago, Lin Chen was still at the 4th level of the Earth realm. Right now, everyone could see that this prodigy from the Sun Saint Temple, Yun Manqing, had completely fallen for him. This child is truly a heaven-shocking prodigy. He is yet another one in a billion prodigy. The gray-robed old woman sighed from the bottom of her heart. Because Lin Chen's sudden attack with the true flame-purple phoenix wings had attracted the attention, their Sun Saint Temple had obtained 2 white heaven fruits and 1 black heaven fruit. It was a bountiful harvest. How should we deal with this fella? Leng Yueqi and Bai Ruoyan were like dragonflies skimming the surface of the water. They gracefully landed beside Lin Chen. That ghost-masked swordsman was tied up on the ground. Throw him away. Since he is useless to us, we can just leave his things behind. Under the watchful eyes of everyone, Lin Chen wasn't afraid that the news of him offending the Ghost Masked Swordsman's faction would be announced. He didn't have the time to consider such things. After stripping the Ghost Masked Swordsman's storage ring, Lin Chen crippled one of his arms and threw him out to fend for himself. Had it not been for his formidable strength, this swordsman would have brought along his 3 Heaven Dipper realm experts to eliminate him. Not killing him was already the greatest kindness. He was no longer interested in the attribute light balls dropped by this prodigy at the 9th level of the Earth realm. He was interested in all the Heaven Dipper realm experts here. We have already obtained 4 black heaven fruits and 6 white heaven fruit. Among them, there are 2 that are of the highest quality. Lung Yueqi's expression had a rare ripple as she smiled delightedly. With this white heaven fruit, her cultivation below the 6th level of the Heaven Dipper realm wouldn't have any bottleneck. You are happy just like this? Mentor Ling, the show has just begun. Lin Chen licked his lips and looked down at all the Heaven Dipper realm experts below the black and white heaven tree with a trace of flirtatiousness. That gaze was simply like a single dog who had been single for 30 years and didn't even have the chance to watch a romance movie when he saw a group of stunning beauties. His eyes were dripping with saliva. Those who were swept by his eyes all had goosebumps. This kid wouldn't be up to any tricks, right? Thinking of his ancient azure dragon, nearly 200 Heaven Dipper realm experts stood together like an organization and stared at Lin Chen at all times. Lin Chen's heart gave birth to a wonderful pleasure. The Heaven Dipper realm experts who looked down on billions of mortal beings in the outside world were now like shivering sheep in front of him, an Earth realm expert. If I don't slaughter you now, do I still have to keep you for the new year? Without saying a word, Lin Chen decisively released the ancient azure dragon and jumped back to the ground with the 2 women. Seeing him release the ancient azure dragon, all the experts' hearts jump. It's over, this kid still doesn't intend to let them go. But all of them together were definitely not to be trifled with. If they were to make a fuss, it would be a life and death struggle. At this time, they mustn't back down. What a fat sheep each and every one of them is sent to my mouth. If I, Lin Chen, don't eat them, I'll be letting down this handsome face of mine. Lin Chen pretended to be depressed and let out a long sigh. All the experts' mouths twitched violently. In the next moment, Lin Chen's expression changed faster than flipping a book. His brows became sharp and murderous. All of you must think that you can go against me if all of you work together. Let me tell you, without a set of tough teeth, I won't be able to bite through all of you so easily. Light flashed. Lin Chen sat on the ancient azure dragon's head. A large pile of incandescent aurora stones emitted a dazzling light and piled up into a small mountain. Just by looking at it with the naked eye, there were at least 200 incandescent aurora stones. This time, the incandescent aurora stones were the last straw that broke the camel's back. Most of the Heaven Dipper realm experts finally showed a trace of fear on their faces. They had seen with their own eyes how powerful the incandescent aurora stones that Lin Chen had detonated previously were. Just one explosion was enough to seriously injure at least one of them. Just now, Lin Chen had used up close to 200 incandescent aurora stones in one go. It was enough to blow up the defensive form of the black and white universe tree that had been growing for 10,000 years. In the space outside the shrine that was filled with spiritual energy, Lin Chen's detonation of one incandescent aurora stone was enough to injure a Heaven Dipper realm expert. Then, what about in a space like the shrine that wasn't protected by spiritual energy? Without a doubt, if 200 incandescent aurora stones exploded together, it would be enough to make all of them suffer. Not to mention, Lin Chen's combat strength and the 2 beauties beside him were also not to be trifled with. Not to mention, he still had the ancient azure dragon as his trump card. He actually still has 200 incandescent aurora stones. What kind of aurora stone vein did this brat dig? Damn it, he must have used up at least 400 of them. Seeing that everyone's fighting spirit was starting to fade, Lin Chen added fuel to the fire and smiled casually. Seniors, are you all scared already? This is only the second batch. If it's not enough, I still have the third and fourth batches. I guarantee that each of you will experience the wonderful feeling of being blown up by such precious treasures of heaven and earth. The Heaven Dipper Realm experts trembled, as if they had recalled something terrifying. Brat, what do you want? Two Heaven Dipper Realm experts from the spiritual state, who were still rational, asked in a deep voice. What do I want? That's simple. Lin Chen rubbed his hands with a smile. Then, he suddenly changed his tone and shouted coldly. All of you, stand properly for this young master. From now on, this is a robbery. Men stand on the right, women on the left. Lie on the ground in a disheveled manner. The handsome ones stand in the middle. Those in women's clothing stand in front. Those who are not in women's clothing, stand still and shout 300 times for me. Then, hand over your soul collecting rings obediently. Chapter 140. Okay, I'm done. Is there anyone else who has questions? Lin Chen crossed his arms in front of his chest. As soon as he finished speaking, more than a dozen people went berserk and shouted angrily. Why do you want us to hand over our soul rings? Your request is too much. When I dominated the spiritual state, you were still playing in the mud. You're just a coward. Yeah, we're your seniors after all. Young man, don't be too overbearing. Who knows when the tables will turn? You're not qualified to take all of us down. Before the few Heaven Dipper sovereigns who flaunted their seniority could finish their words, Lin Chen's lips curled into a cold smile. He pushed his palm across the void, and more than a dozen gray runes fell from the sky. Host activated Level 2 Slow Rune. 80,000 rune energy consumed. At this time, the cultivation of the Heaven Dipper realm powerhouses was sealed. To delay their movements, the Level 2 Sluggish rune only needed 80,000 points of rune energy to spare. Before they could react, Lin Chen threw 10 incandescent aurora stones at them. As the lights shone brightly, all the cultivators were terrified and ran away immediately. Bang! 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 Every wave of explosion caused by the aurora reflected the fear of many Heaven's Star Border Realm cultivators. This kid actually has a secret technique that can slow down the transformation of the opponent's battle aura? It's too scary. How many trump cards does he have? After the explosion ended, the Heaven Star Border Realm cultivators who flaunted their seniority were left with a few bones on the ground and a bunch of secret manuals and elixirs dropped from their soul rings. Lin Chen was not in a hurry to pick up the scattered attribute light balls. Instead, he asked seriously, Okay, who else has questions now? Seeing Lin Chen's calm expression, many Heaven Star Border Realm cultivators felt troubled from the bottom of their hearts. Ruthless. A truly peerless ruthless person. Decisive, sharp, and straightforward in killing without any hesitation. Is this kid really only 17 years old? Is he not an old monster who possessed a young man's body? Every action of his could not be measured by common sense. It completely subverted everyone's understanding. Now, what everyone was really worried about was that even after they handed over the spirit rings, Lin Chen still wouldn't let them go. Because in this temple, it was the best place for him to kill everyone present. His strength wouldn't be restricted too much here. Alright, now if anyone has any questions, if not, I'll leave it to you. I repeat what I said just now. The men stand on the right and the women on the left. Those who were neither male nor female were lying on the ground. Those who were handsome stood in the middle. Those who were dressed in women's clothing stood in front. Those who weren't dressed in women's clothing retreated to the back. Then, hand over your storage rings. Lin Chen's actions showed that he was determined to offend everyone. Let this old woman say something fair. At this moment, the gray-clothed old woman from the Sun Temple walked out and smiled kindly at Lin Chen. Why don't we both take a step back? For those who took the black and white universe fruits, We will hand over something of equal value to you, Lin Chen. What do you think? As soon as she finished speaking, the old woman secretly transmitted her voice to Lin Chen and the other two. Little friend Lin Chen, two ladies, most of the experts heading to the Divine Palace are here for the black and white heaven fruit. If you rob all of them, it's the same as taking their lives. Without a doubt, they will fight you to the death. This old woman admits that with your current strength, you might be able to kill all of them. However, there's also a possibility that you might die under their final attack. This isn't a warning, it's advice. The gray-clothed old woman's tone was sincere, and Lin Chen understood her meaning. I agree with her. Little brother Lin Chen, don't push them too far. Many of these guys are from the spiritual state. They must have trump cards to save their lives in the temple. If you push them too far, both of us will suffer. Even if you have an ancient azure dragon. This time, even Bai Ruoyan had spoken. Lin Chen glanced at the experts in the crowd. Although most of them were looking at him in fear, there were only a few sects that still retained their unswerving determination or cold fighting spirit. Okay, since Sister Ruoyan has spoken, I will take a step back. Lin Chen's expression changed faster than flipping a book. He immediately said with a smile. Okay, I agree with this old senior's condition. How many black and white universe fruits each of you took? You must hand over something of equal value. I promise with my character that I will not pester you anymore. What kind of character do you have? Many experts cursed in their hearts. However, they heaved a sigh of relief when they saw Lin Chen give in. Don't try to hide it from me. I remember clearly who took the black and white universe fruits and how many you took. If anyone is dishonest, I will immediately let him feel the power of the Aurora Stone. The corners of the master's mouths twitched. The gray-robed old woman smiled. Since this old woman is the first to make this suggestion, let my Sun Temple take the lead. Little friend, take it. The gray-robed old woman took out 3 treasures from her storage ring. There was the ice attribute weapon Ice Phoenix 3-feather arrow, the heavenly treasure, Yin-Yang heavenly origin pearl, and a bottle of supreme-grade bone sculpting pill, which had a miraculous effect on body-refining martial artists. Lin Chen suddenly felt a little strange. He didn't seem to have any friendship with this old woman. Why was she so straightforward? As if seeing Lin Chen's confusion, the gray-robed old woman pretended to smile mysteriously. Young man, don't be confused. Just take it as a dowry for my disciple in advance. Dowry? Lin Chen had a dumbfounded look on his face. He only saw the beautiful woman in the long dress in the other party's team blushing slightly. Master, don't talk nonsense. Yun Manqing's face was red. Seeing the man of her dreams staring at her, although she was shy, she still gracefully bowed. I am Yun Manqing, the eldest disciple of the Sun Temple. Greetings to Prince Lin Chen. Hello. Lin Chen was dumbfounded. Beside him, Bai Ruoyan said with a smile that wasn't a smile. Little brother Lin Chen, your charm is quite big. Lin Chen, who didn't understand, pretended to sigh and said, Sigh, I can't help it. Other than being handsome, I really don't have any good points. Sometimes I'm also very annoyed. Bai Ruoyan held back her laughter. Ling Yueqi chose not to hear it. This shameless appearance fell into Yun Manqing's eyes, but she felt that he was so unique and different from other men. Since the old senior is so straightforward, I won't be polite. Lin Chen took the gray-robed old woman's 3 treasures and then shouted towards the Heaven Dipper realm crowd, Next. Don't think about escaping. I'll blow up whoever escapes. The Heaven Dipper realm experts held back their anger and began an unprecedented handing over of treasures. What green top-grade secret manuals, rare heavenly and earthly treasures, top-grade spirit pills and miraculous medicines, high-grade weapons that shook the 24 regions, high-grade pill furnaces, high-grade pill recipes, everything that one could think of. Lin Chen's foundation became unprecedentedly rich in this wave of robbery. Chapter 141. A fifth-level Earth Realm martial artist actually robbed a few hundred Heaven Dipper Realm martial artists? If this was spread back to the 24 regions, everyone would be shocked. If this was spread back to the college, and everyone knew that I robbed a few hundred Heaven Dipper Realm martial artists, I wonder what kind of expression they would have. Looking at the few spirit storage rings that were filled to the brim, Lin Qingchen snickered in his heart. After robbing all 4 martial artists, Lin Chen took away the attribute light balls dropped by the fallen Heaven Dipper Realm martial artists. His Earth Realm cultivation stopped at the peak of the 5th level, and his flesh shell's strength stopped at 990,000 Tiger Force. Other than that, Lin Chen realized that his ancient Azure Dragon could also cultivate. Just like the bottomless pit, it wouldn't reject any treasure and could swallow everything with its dragon mouth. Lin Chen gave all the spirit treasures that he robbed to the ancient Azure Dragon. It didn't reject anything and swallowed everything, making Lin Chen ecstatic. In the future, it would be the same as having a super strong bodyguard that could grow together with him. Of course, Lin Chen knew that he had already provoked many factions and elite experts during this trip to the Divine Palace. Some of the older generation experts who didn't want to admit defeat already had the intention to kill Lin Chen. As long as he left the Divine Palace, they would find trouble with him at any time. Lin Chen wasn't worried about this at all. He would deal with whatever came his way. Some people have already left this Divine Palace. They seem to have discovered the secret passage to the next Divine Palace. Ling Yueqi said anxiously. According to the records, the next Divine Palace might be hiding the target of her trip, the 9-heart ice lotus. Lin Chen could see Ling Yueqi's anxiousness and nodded. Then let's go. With our current strength, we will have the advantage if there are any treasures. The ancient Azure Dragon returned to his body. Lin Chen expanded the purple phoenix wings. After breaking through, his battle chi was sufficient and could fly as he wished. Activating the purple gold pupils, the next Divine Palace's secret passage entrance was at the edge of the black and white universe tree. 15 minutes later, the third Divine Palace was also the final destination of the entire Divine Palace. As soon as Lin Chen and the others stepped into the temple, they could feel a suffocating change in temperature. Numerous small volcanoes were standing there, and lava streams were flowing around them, causing the space to distort. If one didn't have a strong physique, he or she would have to circulate his or her battle chi to resist the scorching heat. An ordinary 9th-level Earth Realm martial artist might not even be able to last 15 minutes. If it wasn't for the fact that those who entered were all at the Tiangang realm, and that their mental cultivation methods and battle chi foundations were far from what ordinary Disha realm cultivators could compare with, they would have long been turned into roasted suckling pigs. When Lin Chen arrived here, he found that all the Heavenly Dipper realms stopped in place. Even if they were roasted by the fire, they did not dare to act rashly. There are powerful beasts guarding the volcano. They are 2 big guys, genuine Class 5 dire beasts. Lin Chen activated the purple lightning realm of his purple gold eyes and saw through the secrets hidden within the volcano. No wonder these old men are waiting for me. With their strength, it is as difficult as ascending to the heavens for them to resist the heat and break through the defense of 2 Class 5 dire beasts. After Lin Chen saw through the essence of the problem, his lips curled into a sneer. He didn't expose them directly as they needed each other's strength to work together. This is the Ice-Fire Divine Palace. Legend has it that it was formed by an ancient Almighty's personal weapon after it was damaged. The exit of the entire Divine Palace is between the iceberg and the volcano. The old man held a fan and had a long beard and white hair. He turned to look at Lin Chen. "Young friend, let's get straight to the point. This time, we need each other's strength to break through. Otherwise, all of us will have to die here, right?" Who knew that Lin Chen didn't even bother with this old man and released the ancient Azure Dragon. "I don't need your strength. Do you think I don't know what kind of old foxes you are?" Lin Chen smiled casually. Then, he rode the ancient azure dragon and charged into the volcano range with the two women. At this time, the ancient azure dragon was absorbing part of the treasures and high-grade elixirs that Lin Chen had robbed. Its body was close to 800 feet and was still growing. Many experts turned to look at him. Their shock was filled with doubt. What kind of azure dragon is this? It is still growing stronger. Its growth speed is as abnormal as Lin Chen's. However, they didn't have time to think and be puzzled. Seeing Lin Chen move, all the Heaven Dipper realm experts tacitly used all kinds of movement technique. This was the last stage of the Divine Palace. They didn't need to hide their trump cards. The ancient azure dragon's claws tore through the mountains and destroyed everything in its way as it moved forward rapidly. In less than 10 breaths, the ancient azure dragon let out 2 roars that tore the sky apart and shook the mountains. Lava tumbled and formed pillars of fire that shot up to the sky. Between a few thousand feet tall mountains, 2 colossal creatures appeared. They crawled on the ground with 4 limbs. Their tails were as thick as pillars, their heads were like crocodiles, and their scales were like soft armor. There was a flame crystal-like object on their backs that was transparent and dazzling. Their bloodthirsty red pupils were filled with ruthless light. It's 2 level 5 blazing lava lizard. They are fighting on their home ground and can control the lava. Be careful. Bai Ruoyan saw through the details of the 2 ferocious beasts. Lin Chen nodded and looked at the highest volcano. In the highest volcano, there was a 5-petaled red flower floating in the air. It was beautiful and deadly, emitting suffocating heat. The blazing mandala is a treasure born together with the 9-heart ice lotus, Ling Yueqi said excitedly. This blazing mandala indirectly proved that the 9-heart ice lotus that she had been searching for was in this divine palace. I want this thing. I will let the ancient azure dragon entangle one of the blazing lava lizards. You guys wait for an opportunity to break through these volcanoes. Lin Chen spread his flaming purple phoenix wings to the maximum. Lin Chen turned into a stream of purple flames and flew toward the highest volcano. Roar! The ancient azure dragon roared angrily and leaped into the air. Its dragon claws tore through the mountains and rivers. It grabbed a blazing lava lizard and flipped it over. It was in so much pain that it roared hoarsely. With a sweep of its dragon tail, it hit the head of the blazing lava lizard that had fallen to the ground. A gust of wind blew, and the blazing lava lizard's head was broken and bleeding. This ancient azure dragon seemed to have some of Lin Chen's battle consciousness. It was rather straightforward and ruthless in battle. Moreover, it was still in the process of becoming stronger. The blazing lava lizard, that was also a level 5 blazing lava lizard, was no match for it. The other blazing lava lizard's attention was attracted by Lin Chen. When it saw that Lin Chen actually dared to approach the blazing mandala that it had been guarding for 1,000 years, it leaped up with its mountain-like body, causing lava to scatter in all directions. A flaming storm swept across. Damn it, it's coming for me. Lin Chen's flaming purple phoenix wings turned in the air and changed direction rapidly, causing the other party to pounce on empty air. Lin Chen narrowly avoided that abyss-like bloody mouth. This level 5 ferocious beast was comparable to a genuine Heaven Dipper realm expert. With Lin Chen's current strength, even if he could fight, he would only give the other party some superficial wounds. He didn't intend to do something that didn't benefit him at all. Chapter 142. The blazing lava lizard swept its tail, and a strong gust of wind came slashing over like blades. The purple phoenix wings flapped again and retreated even further. At this moment, Lin Chen realized that the older generation of Heaven Dipper realm experts had actually made use of the time when he and the ancient azure dragon were entangled with the blazing lava lizard to rush to the exit at the end of the volcano. As long as they entered the spatial vortex at the end of the volcano, they would be teleported out of the shrine. Good heavens, this bunch of bastards are planning to sell me, Lin Chen? Trying to trick me? Dream on. Lin Chen sneered in his heart. Light swirled around his palms. Lightning flashed on his left hand, and white light flashed on his right hand. The purple phoenix wings flapped rapidly again. After dodging the blazing lava lizard's second attack and its flame breath, he suddenly executed the two ultimate skills, one light and one thunder, at the same time. Host consumed 50,000 rune energy points to activate level 2 recharge rune. Battle technique attack power increased by 240%. Recharge rune, thunder explosion, fury of light. Suddenly, he pushed his palms out horizontally. Two energy hand seals, one of light and one of lightning, shot out. As they flew, they rapidly expanded to a size of 1,000 zhang, containing the power to sweep across the great wilderness and overturn rivers and seas. They were aimed at the blazing lava lizard's eyes. Bang bang! Boom! An earth-shattering explosion set off surging heat wave. Lin Chen's attack hit the weakest point of the opponent's defense. SSS. In the energy storm, the blazing lava lizard's entire body pounced out furiously. Lin Chen quickly retreated with the purple phoenix wings. At this moment, the blazing lava lizard's head had two big holes. One of its eyeballs was missing, and only half of its pupil was left. It looked extremely miserable. Its hatred for Lin Chen was unprecedented. Lin Chen lured it all the way to the spatial vortex at the end of the volcano group. With a spin of the purple phoenix wings, Lin Chen purposely lowered his flying height and dove into the crowd of Heaven Dipper realm experts who were trying to rush into the spatial vortex. The blazing lava lizard was instantly enraged. Its ferocious claws swept across like a gust of wind, hitting a few Heaven Dipper realm experts consecutively. The blazing lava lizard smashed the ground, and streams of lava burst out from the ground, attacking the Heaven Dipper realm cultivators. This brat has attracted the blazing lava lizard over. Be careful. This blazing lava lizard is infuriated. What a treacherous brat. He actually wants to drag us down with him even at the last moment. These Heaven Dipper realm cultivators were complaining incessantly. If they were in the outside world, they wouldn't be afraid even if there were 10 blazing lava lizards. However, in this place, the slightest carelessness would cost them their lives. Obviously, the blazing lava lizard had taken these humans as Lin Chen's accomplices. In addition, more than half of its eyes had been destroyed by Lin Chen. Thus, its vision was obstructed. After Lin Chen lured the blazing lava lizard over, he flew back to the volcano from before. Just as Lin Chen was about to return to retrieve the blazing datura, he realized that 4 teams had rushed up the volcano. He was about to snatch away the blazing datura that he had set his eyes on. First, you sold me to attract the blazing lava lizards, and now you're picking up a ready-made one. You bunch of cunning fools. See how I'll deal with you this time. He clenched his fist, and a black glow appeared. The abyss spear was like a dragon that was born. The rolling and profound aura even stunned Lin Chen. What's going on? Lin Chen was dumbfounded as he carefully sized up the abyss spear in his hand. At this moment, the abyss spear's lethality had increased tremendously. Lin Chen even had a feeling that he couldn't hold it in his hand anymore. Even without activating his purple golden eyes, he could clearly see that the abyss spear had broken through the 4th grade and was now a 5th grade weapon. There's no time to investigate this secret now. Let's kill these old bastards first. After channeling a wisp of dark battle chi, the abyss spear immediately calmed down. With the spear in his hand, Lin Chen swooped down to the highest volcano with the purple phoenix wings. Dark Devour! The dark abyss spear cut open a curtain of darkness, and the tip of the spear swirled with a dark shadow. When the force of 990,000 tigers erupted, it furiously swept toward the closest team to the blazing Mandara volcano, splitting open a chasm in the middle of the volcano. It's Lin Chen! I didn't expect him to be able to lure that blazing lava lizard away so quickly. His phoenix wing's speed has increased again. Fight. We're already close to the teleportation exit. There's no need to hold back anymore. The ancient azure dragon isn't by his side. Let's kill him in one go. Rip. Even if the Abyss Spear's grade had reached the 5th grade, Lin Chen's attack still couldn't shake the opponent. In an instant, it was defeated by the opponent in just a few moves. The 6 veteran Heaven Star Border Realm experts weren't ordinary people either. They could see Lin Chen's current trend and weren't afraid of him at all. Surround him. Don't let him use the incandescent Aurora Stone. Saber Chi tore through the void like dragons. 3 Saber Chis were more than 10 feet wide and sealed off Lin Chen's escape route. The other 5 Heaven Star Border Realm experts attacked at the same time. The space fluctuated, and flower-like sword chis bloomed in the sky, cutting through the void and surrounding the space above Lin Chen's head. A golden fist mark flickered with dazzling radiance. It was domineering and attacked from below Lin Chen. The meteor-like finger light flicked open the ripples in the void. Various ultimate techniques were aimed at Lin Chen's head. I don't even need to use my characteristic runes to deal with this kind of attack. Lin Chen sneered and waved the Abyss Spear with both hands. The spear's edge danced wildly, forming a pitch-black and deep dark elemental battle chi that formed a barrier. All the ultimate techniques were annihilated into nothingness by the dark elemental battle chi the moment they were launched. It felt as though all the attacks were thrown into a bottomless abyss, and all traces of them disappeared. What? Our attacks were devoured? A rare dark elemental battle chi. What a strange cultivation technique. This is my first time seeing such a strange usage of battle chi. Before the Heaven Star Border Realm experts could distance themselves, the dark elemental barrier suddenly trembled and instantly shrunk into a black line on the Abyss Spear. I'll return these attacks to you. Lin Chen held the spear with both hands and swept it across the sky. The dark elemental battle chi that filled the void surged out like a heaven-splitting wave. Host activated Level 2 Corrosion Rune. 60,000 rune energy points have been consumed. The dark waterfall struck 6 Heaven Star Border Realm experts. Their battle chi defense was instantly broken, and their life-saving weapons were shattered. 2 of them died on the spot. As for the remaining 4, their battle chi was rapidly corroded because of the corrosion rune. In this space where spiritual energy was depleted, they still had to rely on their battle chi to withstand the high temperature of the lava volcano. Once their battle chi was corroded, they would fall into an endless cycle of suicide. Lin Chen didn't have time to tangle with them. He didn't even pick up the attribute light balls for the time being. He rushed to the peak of the mountain. At this moment, the 3 teams standing at the mouth of the volcano had just arrived. The 3 teams had a total of 22 people. 2 of them were from the spiritual state and had a strong foundation. At this moment, they weren't afraid of Lin Chen, who had just returned. You wanted me to lure away the 2 blazing lava lizards while you guys reap the fruits of my labor. You guys are really good at scheming. Lin Chen stepped into the air and smiled casually. A trace of sharp killing intent flashed across his eyes. Chapter 143. The blazing mandala flower is something our palace master wants. Lin Chen, stand aside if you know what's good for you. We'll take it. Now that the space vortex to leave the godly palace was right in front of them, the other party no longer pretended to be weak. A Heavenly Star Realm team from the spiritual state announced indifferently. This kid doesn't have the ancient azure dragon by his side. We don't have to be afraid of him. Guys from the mythical fire palace, if you join forces with us, we'll take the blazing mandala flower. We can give up on the blazing mandala flower, but we'll take a share of the black and white universe fruits on this kid. Then I'll take the part that this kid just robbed. Damn it, I've hated him for a long time. These three teams actually hit it off and temporarily locked onto Lin Chen as their target. Lin Chen was able to suppress them earlier because he had the protection of the ancient Azure Dragon, which could unleash the full power of the blazing Aurora Stone. However, without the ancient Azure Dragon, these 22 people were confident that they could turn the tables and kill Lin Chen before he threw out the blazing Aurora Stone. It seems that you guys are very confident. Then I'll fulfill your wish. Lin Chen's lips suddenly curled into a devilish smile. System. I'm going to activate the level 2 slow rune to suppress these old bastards. Host consumed 250,000 runes of energy to activate the level 2 slow rune. Boom! Before they could react, a grayish-white rune suddenly appeared right above the crater of the volcano. The aura from the rune seemed to contain a mysterious power that could last for thousands of years. A level 2 slow rune with 250,000 runes of energy. This rune was enough to slow down the battle providence of dozens of Heavenly Star Realm experts in the Godly Palace for a few breaths. The grayish-white rune disappeared in a flash. All the Heavenly Star Realm experts' battle providence was now as slow as a tortoise. It took them more than 100 times longer to activate a combat technique. At this moment, Lin Chen's purple phoenix wings flapped furiously. He snatched the blazing mandala flower floating above the crater of the volcano and threw a soul acceptance ring at the crater. The soul acceptance ring shone brightly, and the white light it emitted was the energy of the Aurora Stone. I'll blow you guys up. Boom! Rumble! The entire temple trembled fiercely for a few times. The earth quaked and the mountains swayed. It was as if the raging waves of the sea had overturned the archipelago. A storm of flames that was thousands of feet high raged and raged. Hundreds and thousands of streams of lava shot out of the firestorm like a meteor shower, and a mushroom cloud of burning flames slowly rose into the sky. This earth-shattering explosion shocked many Heaven Dipper realm to flee, for fear of being swept into the flame storm or smashed by the lava fire stream thrown out by the flame storm. What did this little guy do to cause such a huge commotion? Bai Ruoyan, who had just passed through the flaming mountains, exclaimed in surprise. This power was comparable to the full power attack of a Heaven Dipper realm first-layer martial artist. Far away from the volcano, Lin Chen floated in the air, overlooking the situation below. When he activated his purple-gold eyes, he discovered that there were still 7 people fleeing. With 50 incandescent aurora stones exploding at the same time, 7 of them survived even with the help of the rune of deceleration. No wonder they are masters from the spiritual state. Lin Chen gave up the chase and turned to collect the attribute light balls and treasure chests scattered around. Host has received 13 million battle aura essence, 21 million chi and blood, 11,000 spiritual energy. Host has opened a mithril treasure chest. Host has received a bottle of level 5 intermediate elixir, jade blood marrow cleansing elixir. Host has opened a mithril treasure chest. Host has received 200,000 rune energy. Host has received 400,000 light energy, 710,000 fire energy, 660,000 metal energy, and 320,000 water energy. Lin Chen turned into an afterimage on the battlefield and collected a large number of attribute light balls. Suddenly, he saw a treasure chest brimming with dazzling golden light. The light was unprecedentedly bright, reflecting a golden ocean. Subconsciously swallowing his saliva, Lin Chen raised his hand and opened the treasure chest. Host has opened a pure gold treasure chest. Congratulations on obtaining a level 5 elixir, True Dragon Soul Refining Elixir. The medicinal properties of this elixir made even Lin Chen, who was an alchemist, feel his scalp tingle. It was another body refining elixir. The value of this item was hard to estimate. Hurry up and keep it. A level 5 elixir is like a bomb to the current me. If I recklessly consume it, I will be courting death. After keeping the true dragon soul-refining elixir, Lin Chen continued to collect the attribute light balls. After spending close to 15 minutes, he had almost collected all the attribute light balls dropped by the fallen Heaven Dipper realm experts. Host has broken through to the 6th level of the Earth realm. Following the system's notification, the 9-colored battle soul in Lin Chen's Dantian already had 6 revolving heaven rivers, which symbolized the 6th level of the Earth realm. Right now, the battle was gradually coming to an end. The ancient azure dragon paid the price of minor injuries and completely tore apart one of the blazing lava lizards. The other blazing lava lizard had also fallen under the counterattack of the Heaven Dipper realm experts. It was obvious that at the final juncture of the Divine Hall, many experts didn't hold back and brazenly counterattack. Even if they were only at the 9th level of the Earth realm, they were still able to eliminate the blazing lava lizards that had lost their eyes. Lin Chen skimmed across the sky and landed at the end of the lava mountains. Right now, the Heaven Dipper realm experts had already left this godforsaken place. Almost none of them were willing to stay behind. No expert was willing to stay in a place where they could be trampled on. At the end of the blazing lava mountains, it was a land of ice and snow. Large snowflakes were fluttering down. Lin Chen and the 2 ladies were standing in the snow that was ravaged by the cold storm. Lin Chen had just used his purple-gold pupils to scan the terrain of the glacier snow mountain when he heard a voice from behind. "Wait a moment, Lin Chen." 5 individuals from the Sun Saint Hall appeared behind Lin Chen. The gray-robed old lady who was leading the group called out to Lin Chen. "Oh, Senior hasn't left yet? May I ask what advice you have for me?" Lin Chen turned around and cupped his hands in a rather courteous manner. "Lin Chen, you've offended so many experts. After leaving the Mystery Realm, you'll definitely be in a lot of trouble. Although your strength is extraordinary, you don't belong to any sect or faction. If you don't have a good place to go, you can come to the Sun Saint Hall of the Spirit State. We'll definitely give you the best treatment and help you deal with those who cause you trouble. Little friend, do you want to consider it?" The gray-robed old lady's tone was courteous. She took out a token with a sun symbol engraved on it and handed it to Lin Chen. Behind her, Ling Ziki and Yun Manqing both looked at Lin Chen expectantly. "So Senior is here to recruit talents." Lin Chen suddenly understood. However, Bai Ruoyun's voice transmission entered Lin Chen's ears. "Little brother Lin Chen, after leaving the Mystery Realm, I may enter a long period of seclusion. At that time, no one will be able to protect you. You've offended many veteran Heaven Star Realm cultivators in the 24 domains. It's a good choice to have a good relationship with the Sun Saint Hall." Even Bai Ruoyun suggested this to Lin Chen. He smiled casually and took the token. "Since Senior is so generous, I'll definitely visit the Sun Saint Hall when I'm free." Seeing Lin Chen take the token, Yun Manqing's face lit up. She mustered up her courage and walked out. Young Master's style is unparalleled throughout history. Manqing admires you. If Young Master can come to the Sun Saint Hall, Manqing will definitely treat Young Master as a guest and drink the hall's sacred tea. "Drink tea? No, another day." Lin Chen's reply confused the others. They didn't invite him to drink tea now. Another day? Another day. Chapter 144. After bidding farewell to the people of the Holy Sun Temple, when Lin Chen turned his head again, Lung Yueqi was long gone. Where's my mentor Lung? You're busy with your little beauty. Your beautiful mentor can't wait to break in. Bai Ruoyun covered her mouth and chuckled. Lin Chen slapped his thigh. "Oh my God, I forgot to tell Mentor Lung that there are 2 Class 5 dire beasts inside." In the center of the snow glacier, an ice pool reflected a faint cold light. The temperature here was extremely cold, but the water in the ice pool was not frozen. It only emitted a faint cold air, condensing into mist and rising into the air. Every wisp of mist flowed into the lotus in the center of the ice pool. The lotus was snow-white, and the lotus seat was like a palm. It had 14 petals and 9 hearts. The heart of the lotus was like a pearl under the night sky, shining with a unique light. 9 hearts ice lotus. It's really a treasure of heaven and earth that's a twin of the blazing mandala. Lung Yueqi crossed an ice mountain and looked down at the situation in the ice pool. When she saw the 9 hearts ice lotus, she, who was always cold, couldn't help but show excitement and anticipation. Crack, crack, crack. At this moment, the snow on the ground suddenly split open, and the earth's crust shifted. A crystal-clear scorpion tail suddenly pierced toward the peak of the mountain where Ling Yueqi was. A dire beast? With the ice bow in her hand, Ling Yueqi was about to counterattack. A domineering dragon roared and bit the scorpion tail. The dragon's body rolled and crushed the entire mountain. A stream of purple flame flew through the void and took Ling Yueqi away before the mountain collapsed. The ancient azure dragon bit the crystal-clear scorpion tail, and the dragon's claws broke the poisonous barb. As the dragon's body rolled, it pulled out the huge monster hidden in the snow. It was a frost jade scorpion, a class 5 dire beast. Its shell was as bright as jade, and its defense was indestructible. Its attack was accompanied by a dense cold air. Its pair of giant claws attacked the ancient azure dragon with murderous intent. The latter pushed its dragon claws and bit the frost jade scorpion. Hiss hiss. Before Lin Chen could react, the ice on the other glacier suddenly shattered, and a thick body that was nearly 1,000 feet long pounced towards Lin Chen and Ling Yueqi. Be careful! Bai Ruoyun's jade-like hand held a 3-foot-long green sword. She stood on top of a mountain peak not far away. The sword's edge flowed with a sharp aura that could shake the heavens, violently cutting the air into the shape of a saw. Sky Silver Heart Sword. Bai Ruoyun was peerless and otherworldly, like a sword immortal descending to the mortal world. When the huge ice python sneakily attacked Lin Chen and Li Chia, she pulled the tip of her sword, and a sword light as thin as a fingertip slashed out like a rainbow piercing through the sun. The startling rainbow sword light flashed past a corner of the glacier and split it open without any suspense. Then, it hit the gigantic ice python that was 1,000 feet away from Lin Chen. Hiss! The sword aura pierced into the ice python's scales, and blood spurted out. The ice python spat out its tongue in pain and fell to the ground, stirring up a snowstorm that filled the sky. Such an incredible sword skill! Lin Chen's eyes lit up. His big sister Bai Ruoyun was indeed remarkable. She was actually able to injure this Tier 5 ice calamity python with her 9th level of the Earth Realm cultivation. This power was even stronger than the divine desolate 9 arts that he used to recharge his energy runes. I won't be able to delay it for long. Quickly go and seize the lotus. Bai Ruoyun yelled out delicately. Lin Chen immediately regained his senses and placed Ling Yueqi on the snowy ground. You have to be careful. Don't let anything happen to you. Ling Yueqi gave a rare reminder to Lin Chen with concern. This was the first time he saw his icy beauty mentor being so worried about him. Lin Chen couldn't help but stare blankly for a moment. Don't worry, it won't be able to deal with me. I will slaughter it later and get a python skin coat for our class's beautiful mentor to wear. Lin Chen chuckled. Ling Yueqi let out a rare smile and headed straight for the 9-heart ice lotus. The purple phoenix wings flapped with purple flames and the black abyss spear burned with dark red battle chi flames. Lin Chen raised his spear and aimed at the back of the ice calamity python's head before cleaving down. Pfff. The spear cut through the tough python's skin and tore off a large piece of flesh. The ice calamity python, which was still focused on by Ruoyun, was in so much pain that it rolled around on the ground. Lin Chen's speed was considered top-notch among the Heaven Dipper realm 1st level. The ice calamity python, which was distracted, couldn't even react in time. Let me give you a grand slam. Lin Chun exerted strength in both his palms and pierced the spear another 3 inches in, causing the python's blood to splatter. Immediately after, Lin Chun circulated his fire and wind-attributed battle chi. The flaming gale went through the spear tip and into the ice calamity python's body. Divine Wilderness 9 Arts, Wind Rend, Flame Extinguish. In the next moment, Lin Chun, who had fully exerted his battle chi, sprinted on the ice calamity python's back. Together with the flapping of the purple phoenix wings, he tore open a shocking wound on the ice calamity python's back. Red battle chi flames were still burning on the wound. Together with the ferocious splitting wind, the flames burned more and more fiercely. Bai Ruoyan saw that the ice calamity python was in so much pain that it wanted to bite Lin Chun. She flipped the sword in her hand and slashed out a river-like sword chi. It swept through the 9 heavens and stars and landed on the ice calamity python's head, leaving a bloody sword mark. The ice calamity python, which had been sleeping for thousands of years, had never suffered such a fierce attack. It immediately took out its strongest trump card. Bai Ruoyan was about to follow up with another attack when the ice calamity python's aura suddenly changed and it shouted, "Brother Lin Chun, get off its back!" As soon as Bai Ruoyan's voice fell, Lin Chun felt that something was wrong. He flapped his purple phoenix wings and flew up rapidly. Puff! Boom! The ice calamity python's body instantly emitted a shocking cold air that could freeze the world. It froze a large glacier hundreds of feet around its body. If one was frozen by this cold air, they would probably be frozen in a few breaths. It was enough to kill them. What a powerful cold air! As expected of a Class 5 dire beast. It's not as easy to deal with as a Class 4 dire beast. A murderous look flashed in Lin Chun's eyes. However, it's also at the end of its rope. I've already cut a wound that's half its body length. If I hit it harder, it'll definitely die. Holding the dark abyss spear tightly in his hand, Lin Chun's purple phoenix wings exploded with purple flames. Lin Chun activated the remaining thunder battle chi in his body. Host activated Level 2 Recharge Rune. 50,000 rune energy points have been consumed. Attack power increased by 240%. Recharge Rune, Thunder Explosion. The dark abyss spear burst out and turned into a dark lightning dragon-like bolt of lightning. It crossed the void and stabbed toward the ice calamity python. The sharpness of a Class 5 weapon combined with Lin Chun's full-strength thunder explosion penetrated the ice calamity python's self-formed glacier and pierced a large hole. Eat my 70 incandescent aurora stones. Lin Chun injected a trace of thunder battle chi into the 2 spirit storage rings and suddenly threw them into the huge glacier hole. Chapter 145. Sister Ruoyan, retreat now! Lin Chun suddenly shouted, and the 2 of them quickly retreated. In less than 2 breaths, the 2 spirit receiving rings were thrown right at the Frost Calamity Python's wound. The Frost Calamity Python still didn't understand why the 2 humans suddenly retreated. The moment the light bloomed, an unprecedented aurora enveloped the entire space of the temple. It was as if tens of thousands of auroras had gathered at one point and exploded at the same time. Under the dazzling and beautiful light, there was a fatal killing intent. Bang! Rumble! The power of 70 incandescent aurora stones was as shocking as the heavens, and they landed right on the Frost Calamity Python's wound. This time, the Frost Calamity Python's body exploded, and countless pieces of flesh were annihilated into ashes. A large number of blood-red and water-attributed light balls floated in the air above the Frost Calamity Python's corpse. Lin Chun flapped his purple phoenix wings and collected all the light balls in a few breaths. The host has received 346 million points of Qi and 24 million points of Qi and blood energy. Because the host's strength has reached the limit, the Qi and blood energy has been absorbed. However, the limit hasn't been broken, so the strength remains the same. The system popped up to inform him of Lin Chen's current situation. His pure strength was already at the limit of 999,900 tiger power. If he wanted to go further, he would reach the level of dragon power. He had to absorb more light balls to break through this limit. At this moment, a strange phenomenon occurred. The entire temple began to shake. Ghastly cracks began to spread from the structure of the temple. The entire temple was about to collapse. Not good. The energy source maintaining the temple has reached its limit. Our previous battle also affected the foundation of the temple. Now, the temple is about to collapse. Bai Ruoyun's expression was solemn. She glanced at Lin Chen, and he immediately understood. Sister Ruoyun, I'll be faster. You retreat to the exit first. I'll go help Instructor Lung. Seeing that Lin Chen had already moved, Bai Ruoyun's purple phoenix wings moved at a speed of 1,000 meters in an instant. If she insisted on staying, she would only be a burden. Bai Ruoyun's beautiful figure trembled and disappeared in a wisp of smoke. But Leng Yueqi, who was near the ice pool, was not optimistic. Just as she approached the ice pond to take the 9-heart ice lotus, the ferocious frost cyan jade scorpion broke through the ancient azure dragon's obstruction and attacked Leng Yueqi. The ancient azure dragon and the frost viridescent jade scorpion once again engaged in an intense battle near the ice pool, completely blocking Leng Yueqi's path forward. She was unable to enter the ice pool at all. This resulted in Leng Yueqi not being able to obtain the 9-heart ice lotus. She took out her ice bow and madly attacked the frost cyan jade scorpion. However, this kind of vicious beast was known for its defense and endurance. She was unable to break through its defense in a short period of time. The ancient azure dragon had already fought a great battle with a blazing lava lizard. Facing the frost cyan jade scorpion now, it was impossible to determine the victor within a short period of time. If not for the fact that the ancient azure dragon had consumed a large number of pills and treasures that Lin Chen had robbed, it would have already lost to the frost cyan jade scorpion. Rumble! At this moment, the godly palace began to collapse. A few pieces of molten iron fell down like meteors. Each piece was dozens of feet large, and they were all aimed at Leng Yueqi's position. Instructor, be careful! Lin Chen suddenly shouted coldly. In the center of his palm, he condensed the little light element battle chi in his body into a light's fury. The level 2 charging rune was stacked with 50,000 runes of rune energy. At the same time, the power of the light's fury skyrocketed. However, the power of this move did not shake the falling pieces of the godly palace at all. It only relied on the shockwave of the explosion to send the pieces flying for a short distance, giving Leng Yueqi a brief moment to use her movement skill to dodge. What is this thing? It's actually so hard. Lin Chen sucked in a cold breath. The light's fury just now could blow open a hole in the body of a level 5 vicious beast, but it could only destroy a few pieces of rubble? Without caring too much, Lin Chen went to Leng Yueqi's side and took her away. Lin Chen, what are you doing? Put me down, I haven't taken the 9-heart ice lotus yet. Leng Yueqi angrily scolded Lin Chen. My instructor Leng, you're about to die, why do you still want the lotus? This time, Lin Chen was almost anxious. Leng Yueqi had steeled her heart at this time. No. This thing is my hope for revenge. If I can't get it, it's useless for me to live. If you don't put me down, don't blame me for being impolite. Leng Yueqi gritted her teeth and threatened Lin Chen. F***CK. Isn't it just an ice lotus? I'll go get it, you hide to the side. Purple flames flashed past a glacier peak. After Lin Chen put Leng Yueqi down, he turned around and quickly flew towards the ice pool. Be careful! Leng Yueqi shouted worriedly. Lin Chen was currently concentrating on connecting with the ancient azure dragon's mind. The frost jade scorpion was currently guarding the ice pool. If he wanted to take the 9-heart ice lotus, he would have to kill it. When Lin Chen opened his eyes again, his pupils had turned into a light green color. The middle of his pupils had turned into a vertical eye, exactly the same as the ancient azure dragon's dragon eyes. The ancient azure dragon roared at the sky, opened its dragon mouth, and bit down on the frost jade scorpion's pincers. The dragon claw suddenly swung horizontally, moving the frost jade scorpion's position more than half away from the center of the ice pool. The frost jade scorpion's pincers suddenly attacked and tore off a large portion of the ancient azure dragon's dragon scales. The ancient azure dragon was not afraid at all and took a step back to create enough space. "I'd like to see how you're going to defend." At this moment, Lin Chen suddenly roared hoarsely. The ancient azure dragon soared into the sky, the dragon occupying the 9 heavens, sweeping across the stars. Azure dragon's soul-rending claw. Roar! The ancient azure dragon's claws suddenly swung down angrily. A faint and sharp azure light danced wildly from the dragon claws. Every azure light blade emitted a sharpness that could cut rivers and rivers. All of them were like hurricanes that swept past the frost jade scorpion. Boom, 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 boom. Wherever the azure light dragon claws passed, everything was destroyed. Everything was sliced and shredded. The air currents collapsed, the earth shook, the glaciers disintegrated, the earth's crust shifted, and the mountains shattered. The azure light dragon claws that danced wildly in the void seemed to take away the beauty and brilliance. After the extreme destruction, what was left was endless silence and the noisy sound of earthquake. The 9 hearts ice lotus in the ice pool was taken away by a stream of purple flames at extreme speed. It was carefully stored in a jade box made of cold air. "I finally got it. I'm going to run." Lin Chen flew to the ancient azure dragon's back. The ancient azure dragon waved its dragon claws and brought Lin Chen away from the ice pool. Lin Chen was panting. After a series of fierce battles, his battle chi had been completely exhausted. Even his mind was in a tense state. Now he was constantly feeling dizzy. When Ling Yueqi saw that he had finally obtained the 9 hearts ice lotus, her anxious heart finally relaxed. Just as she was about to leave the snowy ground, a series of fragments of the shrine began to fall crazily, smashing the glaciers and snow mountains. Lin Chen's expression changed greatly. He gritted his teeth and the true flame-purple phoenix wings spread out from his back again. With blood flowing from the corner of his mouth, he suddenly flew in the direction of Ling Yueqi. Bang! Bang! Lin Chen hugged Ling Yueqi's slender waist and brought her away before the fragments of the shrine fell. After bringing Ling Yueqi back to the ancient azure dragon's back, Lin Chen suddenly spat out a large mouthful of blood. His face was as pale as paper. Forcefully controlling the purple phoenix wings, he had begun to reach his body's limit. Lin Chen couldn't care too much. When he raised his head to look at the peak of the shrine, his pupils suddenly trembled. Not good. The shrine is about to collapse. We can't rush out in time. Ignoring everything else, Lin Chen ordered the ancient azure dragon to head to the bottom of the largest glacier that was closest to them. The ancient azure dragon's body coiled up. Under the glacier, it tightly protected Lin Chen and Ling Yueqi. What followed was an earth-shattering collapse. Chapter 146. The whole temple collapsed completely, and the earth-shattering sound of the falling was endless. The whole glacier and snow turned into ruins. The lava mountains on the other side were the same, even more terrible than the glacier and snow. Lava was flying all over the sky after being smashed by the fragments of the temple, and the fire continued to burn in all directions. In the dim and narrow space, the cold attacked Lin Chen, stimulating his consciousness and making him slowly open his heavy eyelid. Am I buried alive? Oh no. Where is Mentorlung? Lin Chen quivered and instantly became alert. He hurriedly searched around for her. He had no battle chi and it was dark all around, so he could only rely on his senses to find her. Suddenly, Lin Chen grabbed a piece of soft and silky cloth in the cold ice around him. But what was softer was the owner of the cloth. This feeling made Lin Chen frown. Why is there a steamed bun here? F***ck. It's mentor. Lin Chen hurriedly stretched out his hand, carefully leaned against the ice, and then lifted it up with force. In the darkness, Lin Chen could vaguely make out a beautiful figure lying on the snowy ground. Stretching out his finger, Lin Chen found that Ling Yueqi still had a weak breath, but she was in danger. Her internal organs were all damaged and she had suffered serious internal injuries. It should be the fragments of the temple that injured mentor. She used the last of her battle chi to protect herself, but she still fainted. I have to heal her quickly. Lin Chen immediately checked his storage ring to see if there was anything left that could be used. Lin Chen and the ancient azure dragon were telepathically connected. He knew that the ancient azure dragon was now in the space above his head. If it were not for the ancient azure dragon, he and Ling Yueqi would have been crushed into meat paste. Oh no, almost all my treasures have been eaten by the ancient azure dragon. Only this 1,000-year-old blood ginseng and emerald spirit core are left. Lin Chen rummaged in his storage ring for a long time. There were only 2 medicinal materials left that could be used. As for medicinal pills, there were none left. The spiritual chi in the space of the temple had dried up. The pills were the only way to recover battle chi and injuries, and they had long been used up. The rest of the weapons were all captured weapons, which were completely useless for healing. I can only try. As an alchemist, Lin Chen was very familiar with the effects of the remaining jade spirit cores and 1,000-year blood ginseng. He opened the jade spirit core and carefully cut off a small piece of the fruit. After crushing it, he carefully put it into Ling Yueqi's cherry mouth. The energy contained in high-grade medicinal herbs was extremely abundant. Normally, ordinary people were not allowed to consume them directly. Then, Lin Chen quickly took a bite of the jade spirit core. His flesh shell was tyrannical, so he was not afraid of this violent energy. After eating half of the jade spirit core, Lin Chen recovered a trace of battle chi. He ran the pure water scripture to heal Ling Yueqi. First, he let her refine the energy of the jade spirit core so that her body could produce battle chi to protect her meridians. Then, Lin Chen cut the 1,000-year blood ginseng into 1,000 pieces. Each piece was as small as a few strands of hair. He slowly fed them to Ling Yueqi and used the energy of the 1,000-year blood ginseng to heal her internal injuries. After an unknown period of time, Lin Chen finally fed Ling Yueqi 1,000 pieces of blood ginseng and half of the jade spirit core. When Ling Yueqi's internal injuries began to recover quickly, he breathed a sigh of relief. He was so tired that he sat on the ground, panting like a cow. There is no spiritual chi around to help me recover my battle chi. If I continue like this, I can only wait for death. Lin Chen explored the surroundings. The space that he could move in now was only a few feet. Lin Chen touched a small fragment of the shrine next to him. He ran his pure strength and punched a few times. Except for shaking off a pile of ice and snow, there was no sign of breaking. Lin Chen's fist was in pain. This is bad. The ancient azure dragon is unable to move in order to protect my position. Without my battle chi, it is impossible for me to shake the falling fragments of the shrine. The incandescent aurora stone may blow up these shrine fragments, but I don't have a trace of thunder battle chi. How can I detonate the incandescent aurora stone? For the first time, Lin Chen was confused. He couldn't find a way to get out. His characteristic runes were only effective against living creatures or to improve his battle chi attack. But he didn't have any means to recover his battle chi. In this space where spiritual chi was exhausted, he could only wait for death. The ancient azure dragon had used the azure dragon soul-rending claw and was in a weakened state. It was lucky that it could protect itself. It couldn't break those shrine fragments. If he couldn't get out of here, he would either starve to death, freeze to death, or die of thirst when the last bit of his battle chi was exhausted. Top experts could completely abstain from eating, but the prerequisite was that there was spiritual chi of heaven and earth to replenish their energy. Cough, 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 Ling Yueqi coughed softly. Lin Chen hurried over and touched her with his finger. He found that Ling Yueqi's body temperature was gradually rising. Oh no, the energy of the 1,000-year-old blood ginseng is still too domineering. I need some water source and other energy to balance it out. He frowned. He didn't have the time or ability to find a water source. I can only take a gamble. Lin Chen took out a dagger and made a cut on his palm. The moment blood flowed out, in order to prevent it from freezing, he immediately held it to the beauty's lips and fed it to her. Ling Yueqi's body temperature gradually dropped, and her face gradually became rosy. However, Lin Chen's face was getting paler. It was unknown how much time had passed in the dark underground. Ling Yueqi's eyebrows trembled as she opened her eyes. She found herself in the arms of a young man. His strong arms were hugging her. This? Lin Chen, you dare to molest your teacher. Ling Yueqi's spirit recovered in an instant. Just as her eyebrows became sharp, her aura immediately disappeared. At this moment, Lin Chen was leaning on a block of ice. His body was cold and bloodless. Before he fainted, he was still hugging her tightly. Ling Yueqi saw the blood on his palm. She touched the corner of her mouth and checked the injuries in her body. She also saw the scattered strands of the 1,000-year-old blood ginseng. She was smart and immediately understood what happened. Lin Chen, you are so silly. Why did you do this? Ling Yueqi's heart throbbed slightly. A trace of stubbornness and heartache appeared on her cold face. She transferred the little battle chi in her body into Lin Chen's body. After the battle chi entered his body, Lin Chen's flesh shell seemed to have regained a trace of vitality. His eyebrows trembled slightly. Lin Chen opened his eyes slightly. As soon as he opened his eyes, he saw his beautiful teacher pursing her red lips and glaring at him angrily. Normally, she would be full of killing intent. But now, Lin Chen looked like a weak girl who was stubbornly angry. He was quite cute. Chapter 147. Haha. Mentor-Ling, you're awake. Lin Chen smiled with a pale face. Ling Yueqi wanted to be angry, but she couldn't. She just shook her head and said, "Why did you do this? You're stupid, you know? You'll lose your life." In response, Lin Chen fell on the ice and smiled indifferently. "It's better for me to lose my life than for you to lose your life." Ling Yueqi was stunned. She snorted and said, "I won't allow you to say such degrading words. I'm not degrading myself. It's just that I feel that Mentor-Ling's burden is much heavier than mine. I, Lin Chen, only want to be free. I don't have as many burdens as Mentor-Ling, so you deserve to live more than me." Hearing his seemingly relaxed answer, Ling Yueqi stared at him in a daze. The softest part of her heart seemed to be touched. Her beautiful eyes flashed, and 2 lines of tears flowed. The beauty's soft hands hugged Lin Chen. Why did you say such words? I'm clearly the one who let you down. If I didn't insist on taking the 9-heart ice lotus, you wouldn't have fallen to such a state. Everything is my fault. I'm sorry. It was the first time he saw Ling Yueqi reveal her true feelings. Lin Chen smiled helplessly. Mentor, this is my own choice. It has nothing to do with you. How can it have nothing to do with me? If you didn't help me, you wouldn't be trapped here. You still have a great future and a limitless future. You shouldn't die here. I'm the one who harmed you. Ling Yueqi cried harder and harder. It was as if she was crying out all the grievances in her heart. You don't blame me. Ling Yueqi, who was crying like a weeping beauty, suddenly raised her head and asked. Lin Chen stroked her long hair. Why would I blame you? This is my own choice. When this sentence came out, Ling Yueqi cried even harder. Lin Chen smiled bitterly in his heart. Why are all girls the same? When crying and falling in love, why does their IQ drop? In order to make Ling Yueqi happy, Lin Chen endured the cold invading his body and smiled casually. Then cry more. Come, raise your head and cry in front of me. When I go out in the future, I'll tell everyone in the class in detail about the appearance of our icy beauty teacher when she cried. As soon as he said this, Ling Yueqi's eyes were filled with tears. She laughed and scolded him. You little brat, you sure want to. Tears flickered in the beauty's eyes as she smiled with tears in her eyes. She was like a beautiful snow lotus that bloomed after an iceberg melted. She was so beautiful that a certain Lin was stunned by her beauty. Lin Chen stared at Ling Yueqi and hugged her slender waist. He said seriously, Mentor, you're so beautiful. Their cheeks were very close to each other. When Ling Yueqi heard this, her usually cold and arrogant cheeks blushed for the first time. Her expression was somewhat flustered as she turned her face away and muttered, Don't, I'm your teacher, hee, so what if he's a teacher? Lin Chen shamelessly chuckled evilly before he sighed. Teacher, you're so beautiful. You'll definitely look like a fairy in a wedding dress. What's a wedding dress? A wedding dress is from my hometown. A girl only wears it once in her life, and it's only for one person. Lin Chen talked about the customs of his hometown. He tried his best to keep his mind clear, and at the same time, to prevent Ling Yueqi from falling into sadness. Just like this, the young man hugged the beauty and leaned on each other in the dim space. As Lin Chen talked, he found that Ling Yueqi had finally fallen asleep in his arms. She hadn't finished absorbing the effect of the 1,000-year-old blood ginseng, and her injuries hadn't been completely healed. This was the second time the medicine had taken effect, causing her body to enter a state of hibernation. She would recover faster from her injuries. When she woke up again, Ling Yueqi's injuries would be completely healed. At this moment, Lin Chen's situation was extremely bad. His body was weak, and he had lost too much blood. Without battle qi to protect his body, he was hungry, cold, and thirsty. He was almost in a desperate situation. He was half a step into the gates of hell. As his eyelids grew heavier, the drowsy Lin Chen bit the tip of his tongue. I can't sleep. If I fall asleep, I might really die here. Lin Chen randomly grabbed a dagger and carved on the ice, trying to find something to focus his mind. Time passed by again. Ling Yueqi woke up as the warm current in her body disappeared. What happened to me? I fainted again. After waking up, Ling Yueqi hurriedly looked at Lin Chen and found that he was still looking at her with a smile. However, his lips and face were already pale. Lin Chen, are you okay? How long have I been asleep? Ling Yueqi worriedly checked Lin Chen's vitality, and her pupils trembled slightly. At this moment, Lin Chen's body was in an extremely bad condition. His meridians and dantian were invaded by the cold air, and they were about to be frozen into ice. The most important thing was that his blood had no vitality and was about to stop flowing. If this situation happened to a normal person, he would have died long ago. If his body refining realm was not strong enough, he wouldn't even have the chance to hang on to his last breath. It's okay. You didn't sleep for long, Lin Chen smiled weakly. Ling Yueqi was so anxious that tears were flickering in her eyes. Don't talk first. I will see if there is any way to help you. Lin Chen shook his head and suddenly said seriously, Teacher, don't look for any way. Turn around first. I want to give you a gift. It's already at this time, why do you still want me to turn around? Ling Yueqi anxiously turned around and looked to the side. When Ling Yueqi looked at the ice block beside her, she gasped slightly and covered her red lips with her hands. She was stunned for a moment. She saw that on the ice block, there was a light white dress carved out of ice and snow. It was too beautiful to be taken in all at once. The white dress had a heart-shaped collar and a soft white silk scarf in front of the collar. The shoulders on both sides were flat and slightly exposed. There was a white silk ribbon tied around the waist. The snow-white flawless dress was fluffy and light. It was as thin as a veil, and the long skirt extended to the ground. This was a white wedding dress carved out of ice and snow. Its beauty and exquisiteness could be said to be the work of the gods. It was like a gorgeous and transparent crystal that was finely cut out. It was comparable to the most beautiful and exquisite art in the world. If there were immortal clothes in the mortal world, perhaps it would be like this. This. What is this? No matter how cold Ling Yueqi was, she was still a woman. When she saw this unique ice and snow wedding dress, she also found it difficult to remain calm. This is the wedding dress that I and teacher were talking about. It's a pity that I don't have the chance to see teacher wear it. Lin Chen's eyelids drooped, and he was about to close. No. Lin Chen, don't faint. You will be fine. Tears rolled down her face. The beauty hugged the young man and sobbed silently. Before Lin Chen slowly closed his eyes, he still managed to squeeze out a smile. That, after I came to this world, I haven't had a girlfriend yet. Teacher, can you give me a kiss? Chapter 148. Before Lin Chen could see the beauty's shyness, his eyelids had already closed. Crack rumble! Before his consciousness disappeared, Lin Chen faintly heard a violent tremor. In the world where his consciousness was drifting, Lin Chen seemed to see a handsome face walking towards him. When Lin Chen saw clearly, he realized that the other party's handsomeness was earth-shattering. His handsomeness was so much better than his own. He subconsciously grabbed the other party's arm and asked anxiously, "Brother, why are you so handsome? Please tell me your secret." That handsome face shook his head and smiled. He turned around and left without looking back. Before leaving, he only left behind a sentence. Because I'm reading it and I'm subscribing. In a world of ice and snow, snow swirled. The two beauties stared at the young man lying on the ground without blinking. Suddenly, without any warning, the young man opened his eyes and screamed in fright. "Quick, subscribe quickly!" When Lin Chen woke up, the two beauties were both surprised and happy. This little guy finally woke up. Bai Ruoyan had not yet let out a sigh of relief when Ling Yueqi unexpectedly hugged Lin Chen. "You bastard, I thought you would never wake up again." The beautiful woman's face was flushed with excitement. Tears fell down her elegant and noble face like rain. Even Bai Ruoyan was stunned. What kind of situation was this? Lin Chen calmed down and looked around. Ling Yueqi was hugging him and Bai Ruoyan was curious. Only then did he remember what happened. "I didn't die? Ah. If a handsome guy doesn't die, there will be good fortune later." Lin Chen, who was so excited that he wanted to throw a punch, suddenly felt an intense pain from his chest. His injuries had not fully recovered. The pain made him tremble. "What are you shouting for? Your injuries are not even half healed." Bai Ruoyan rolled her eyes at him in amusement. Lin Chen immediately became well-behaved. Looking at Ling Yueqi, who was still hugging him, he felt like he was in a dream. Ling Yueqi seemed to feel their gazes and quickly let go of Lin Chen. Her cold and beautiful face was as red as a tomato. She pretended to be calm and lectured Lin Chen with the tone of a teacher. "Next time, don't do such an absurd thing again. If it wasn't for big sister Bai Ruoyan spending a month to find us, you would be finished this time. You still have a great future ahead of you. It's not worth gambling your life like this. Do you hear me?" Seeing that Ling Yueqi was pretending to be brave, Lin Chen found it a little funny and said seriously, "I'm not some peerless hero. I'm a person who strives for every moment. If I could do it all over again, I would still make the same choice. You? Well, that's just the way he is. Let's get out of here first," Bai Ruoyan said with a smile. Ling Yueqi unhappily turned around and simply ignored Lin Chen. This shrine has already collapsed, but the restriction is still there. If we want to leave, we still have to go through this spatial exit. Bai Ruoyan pointed at the spatial vortex not far away. At this time, more than half of the shrine had already collapsed. Then let's go. Lin Chen struggled to get up. Waves of weakness came from his body, making him feel dizzy. The injuries he received this time were not as bad as before. The cold temperature had damaged his meridians and internal organs. He needed to properly recuperate for a while. Just as he was about to lose his balance, Ling Yueqi's soft and delicate skin touched his arm. Lin Chen was supported by Ling Yueqi. Her tall and slender figure was not shorter than Lin Chen at all. "Let me support you. After all, you were injured because of me," Ling Yueqi said indifferently. The faint fragrance of a virgin lingering on the beauty's body made a certain Lin's heart a little restless. His eyes stared fixedly at Ling Yueqi's perfect figure. Surprisingly, Ling Yueqi did not seem to care about Lin Chen's gaze. Her face was calm, but the tips of her delicate ears were burning as if they were on fire. Bai Ruoyan secretly glanced at the two with a trace of a smile on her face. She deliberately walked in front, and then took the lead to enter the spatial vortex and be transported away. When Lin Chen was about to step into the spatial vortex, the beauty suddenly stared at him. A rare trace of gentleness appeared in her eyes. She actually held Lin Chen's face, and her red lips were like a dragonfly skimming the surface of the water, quickly pecking Lin Chen's face. Lin Chen was dumbfounded. "Big brother, am I being kissed by force?" Ling Yueqi whispered in his ear, her voice like an orchid. "Thank you for everything you have done for teacher. Teacher really likes that wedding dress." Ling Yueqi's noble and cold face smiled sweetly. She was as beautiful as a fairy and like a melting iceberg. A trace of dawn shone in Lin Chen's eyes. It was like a dream. After finishing her statement, Ling Yueqi jumped into the spatial vortex. Lin Chen stood on the spot in a daze and quickly followed up after 2 breaths. "Taking advantage of me? Running after kissing and slipping away after flirting. How can there be such an easy thing? I want to kiss you back." After returning to the outside world, Lin Chen circulated the 9 calamities of creation and absorbed a massive amount of heaven and earth spirit energy like a whale, replenishing his dantian with a large amount of battle qi. With an abundant battle qi, Lin Chen circulated the true water origin art. The current him had completely cultivated the true water origin art to the perfection stage. In less than 4 hours, all his internal injuries were healed. Lin Chen took the opportunity to open the system. Heaven Dao Possession Pickup System version 2. 0 host. Lin Chen Cultivation, 6th level of the Earth Realm. Limit Power, 999,000 Tiger Power. Qi and Blood Energy, 90. 81 million points. Battle Qi Essence, 81. 22 million points. Mental Power, 141,000 points. Cultivation Technique Soul Essence, 2.01 million points. Mental Cultivation, 9 Calamities of Creation, 15% Cultivation Technique. 8 Desolation Mystic Flame, True Water Origin Art, 100%. Heaven Dipper Battle Qi, 100%. Taisher Scripture, 19%. Divine Desolation 9 Arts, 60%. Special Treasure. True Flame Purple Phoenix Wings, 40%. Bloodline Energy, 2,150 Green Dragon Bloodline, 10,000 Purple Golden Pupils Bloodline. Attribute Rune. Grade 2 Slowing Rune, Grade 2 Corrosion Rune, Grade 2 Charging Rune. Rune Energy, 1.07 million points. Various Elemental Energy, 182 million points for Fire Element, 4.05 million points for Earth Element, 4.07 million points for Wood Element, 4.91 million points for Metal Element, 4.87 million points for Water Element. Lightning Element, 701 million points for Wind Element, 1 28 million points for light element, 2 74 million points for dark element, 980,000 points for wind element. After entering the shrine this time, Lin Chen's strength could be said to have increased by several levels. If he encountered a Heaven Dipper realm in the outside world, he would have the ability to fight back. Most importantly, other than his own combat strength, he also had an ancient green dragon that could cultivate with him. There's still 1 month left before the Evil King's secret realm closes. We've already achieved our goal for this trip. From now on, we can walk around the secret realm with ease. Bai Ruoyan smiled calmly and elegantly. She had already obtained the white Qian fruit, and it was of the highest quality. There was nothing else in this secret realm that could attract her. There's still 1 more month to be impudent. My great green dragon and I have long been unable to endure the hunger and thirst. Lin Chen rubbed his hands together. The ancient green dragon had absorbed all of his black Qian fruit, and it was not far away from the realm of 3 dragon power. In this evil king's secret realm that was full of treasures, his azure dragon could be considered a hungry wolf that had entered a flock of sheep and had a big meal. Chapter 149. 28 days after leaving the Hidden Realm. In the southern region of the Hidden Realm, there was a precipitous cliff with spirit energy that formed a faint purple spirit fog. Within the spirit fog, there was a stalk of dragon jade Ganoderma. Misty energy lines were twining around the dragon jade Ganoderma. Below the cliff, 2 Heaven Dipper realm experts were fighting over this tier 5 mid-grade dragon jade Ganoderma. All of a sudden, ancient azure dragon that was over 1,000 feet in size soared through the clouds, soaring through the air and appearing in the world. It opened its dragon mouth and instantly ate the dragon jade Ganoderma on the cliff. It then flew into the sky and left the scene, leaving behind 2 stupefied Heaven Dipper realm experts. Looking at the direction where the azure dragon left, the 2 of them left resentfully and acted as though nothing happened. Lin Chen sat cross-legged on the ancient azure dragon's back and frowned. Your azure dragon's pure strength has already reached 7 dragon force points. In terms of pure strength, it is comparable to a second-stage Heaven Dipper realm expert. As long as you don't encounter a second-stage Heaven Dipper realm expert, you won't be at a disadvantage. Bai Ruoyan stroked her black hair in between her eyebrows with indescribable elegance and beauty. But it basically won't grow anymore. It seems like its bloodline has reached the limit. Lin Chen let out a sigh of regret. His azure dragon bloodline was only at 2,150 points. Right now, the ancient azure dragon had already grown to the limit. If he wanted to improve it further, he would have to find a new azure dragon bloodline, a tribute light sphere. There weren't many ancient dragons in the 24 regions. Furthermore, Lin Chen's strength was only an appetizer. After 28 days and defeating numerous Heaven Dipper realm experts, I have just advanced to the 7th level of the Earth realm. It will be hard to advance any further. Before entering the Evil King Hidden Realm, he was only at the 2nd stage of the Earth realm. After breaking through 5 stages in 2 months, he still wasn't satisfied. Seeing that Lin Chen wasn't satisfied with his cultivation speed, Bai Ruoyan smiled and shook her head. In the body refinement realm, Lin Chen was still stuck at 999,000 tiger force points. It was much harder for a human's body refinement to break through to the dragon force realm than a beast race. Forget it. I will use the remaining time to search for some natural treasures and refine some elixirs for everyone in Class 66. The azure dragon swept by, Lin Chen and the others vanished into the horizon. 2 days later, Lin Chen and the 2 women returned to the location of the teleportation portal and arrived at the dilapidated ancient city. As soon as they arrived, more than a dozen Heavenly Dipper realm cultivators were eyeing Lin Chen covetously. They were the Heavenly Dipper realm cultivators who were robbed by Lin Chen in the Divine Temple. Now they were bearing a grudge. Some of them stared greedily at Lin Chen. This brat was so arrogant and despotic. He must have obtained a lot of good things in the mystic realm. In the mystic realm, they were afraid of Lin Chen. But outside the mystic realm, Lin Chen was just a brat at the 7th level of the earth realm. In their eyes, he was an existence that they could kill with a flip of their hand. Even his azure dragon was no exception. However, no one dared to make a move in the mystic realm. Boom! Space rippled, and a space stairway opened up from the void, extending into the void. All the powerhouses rushed into the heaven stairway one after another. At least 1/3 of the Heaven Dipper realm cultivators had died in this trip to the secret realm. This was a horrifying ratio in the 24 regions and even the spirit state. In order for a single Heaven Dipper realm cultivator to be born in any region, it would require hundreds of years of accumulation. It would require billions or billions of people to compete with each other before 1 or 2 Heaven Dipper realm cultivators could be born. We can finally leave. Ling Yueqi and Bai Ruoyan's beautiful eyes were filled with anticipation. After leaving the mystic realm, one of them was recovering her cultivation, while the other was breaking through. Both of them were looking forward to how far they could go. After entering the space tunnel, the 3 of them were pushed by a massive spatial force. In less than 15 minutes, they returned to the Sky Qilan Island. However, the spatial zone outside of the Sky Qilan Island was different. When Lin Chen and the others were teleported out, 2 streams of bright saber chi that were as wide as a long river split open the clouds. It was powerful enough to swallow mountains and rivers. The killing aura stirred up the wind and clouds. It descended from the sky and went straight for Lin Chen and the other 2. Before Lin Chen could make a move, Bai Ruoyan smiled calmly. With a wave of her hand, the saber chi that was as thick as a horned dragon was instantly annihilated into nothingness. After the saber chi was annihilated, 12 Heaven Dipper realm cultivators quickly surrounded the 3 of them from all directions. Their battle auras surged, and they were ready to attack at any moment. Sister Ruoyan, we are surrounded. Lin Chen didn't panic and smiled mockingly. Haha, you have already robbed them. Who else are they going to surround if not you? Bai Ruoyan teased with a smile as she looked at the Heaven Dipper realm cultivators calmly. Friend, we came here today only for this brat. We have no other intentions towards you. If you can leave, you are giving us some face. We owe you this favor. How about it? The strength that Bai Ruoyan had just displayed had caused the Heaven Dipper realm cultivators to be wary. Everyone knew that this Lin Chen was full of tricks. If this mysterious woman could leave safely, it would undoubtedly reduce a lot of variables for them. Give you some face? Even if those old fellows from the hidden sects of the spiritual state come out, they might not dare to negotiate with me like this. Other than facing Lin Chen, Bai Ruoyan had regained her high and mighty fairy-like temperament. She was biting cold, otherworldly, and aloof. Her beautiful figure floated in the air as her battle aura soared into the sky. Covered the sky and covered the sun. Bai Ruoyan's cultivation started to rise rapidly. The terrifying battle aura's aftermath shook the sea surface within 1,000 miles. Heaven Dipper Realm 3rd Stage, 4th Stage, 5th Stage, Peak 5th Stage, 6th Stage. Heaven Dipper Realm 6th Stage Peak. The heavens and earth trembled, and all living things were silent. Huge waves that were 100 feet high kept rolling from the sea surface. The sorrowful cries of high-level sea beasts could be heard from the bottom of the sea. They were in great pain from the suppression of this unprecedented aura. Bai Ruoyan alone suppressed 12 veteran Heaven Dipper realm cultivators of the wilderness. All the veteran Heaven Dipper realm cultivators felt like they had fallen into an ice cellar. They were very familiar with the situation of the wilderness. There were only a few Heaven Dipper Realm 6th Stage hidden old monsters. Who was this white-clothed woman? Heaven Dipper Realm 6th Stage? May I ask who you are? A few experienced Heaven Dipper Realm cultivators immediately bowed and cupped their fists. They didn't even have the courage to turn around and flee. The Heaven Dipper realm was different from the Earth realm. Every stage contained a whole new world. A Heaven Dipper realm second stage cultivator could completely suppress a Heaven Dipper realm first stage cultivator. At this stage, it was extremely difficult to fight against someone of a higher stage. Among this group of people, the highest stage cultivator was only at Heaven Dipper realm 4th stage. The rest were mostly at Heaven Dipper realm 2nd or 3rd stage. Bai Ruoyan, who was at the peak of Heaven Dipper realm 6th stage, had the ability to kill all of them within a few moves. This was an absolute difference in strength. Heaven Dipper realm 6th stage. Oh my god, Sister Ruoyan is actually so strong. Just by standing beside Bai Ruoyan, Lin Chen felt his eardrums were ringing and his head was spinning. In a head-on confrontation, an expert of this level could turn him into ashes with a flick of her finger. Chapter 150. If you dare to touch a single strand of this young man's hair, I'll wipe out your entire sect. Bai Ruoyan waved her sleeves. Without any battle chi, the 12 Heaven Dipper realm cultivators exploded in different degrees. Bang bang bang! A series of explosions caused them to vomit blood and retreat dozens of steps in the air. Their eyes were filled with horror. Scram! Bai Ruoyan looked down at the 12 of them with an otherworldly attitude. Lin Chen looked forward to this scene. Wiping out the other party's entire sect while talking and laughing. How free and domineering! If he, Lin Chen, had enough strength, why would he need to do so much? Fairy, your methods are extraordinary. I'm impressed. May we meet again? Fairy, thank you for showing mercy. I'll remember this kid. I won't touch a single strand of his hair again. The Heaven Dipper realm cultivators were angry, but they didn't dare to say anything. They immediately escaped into the void. Sister Ruoyan, why didn't you kill them all? It's a pity to let them go, Lin Chen said regretfully. Bai Ruoyan retracted her aura and flicked Lin Chen's forehead with her slender fingers. Your elder sister still needs some time to recover her cultivation. If I kill all of them, the forces behind them will mobilize all of their forces. When they investigate the cause, they might send out true experts. At that time, it won't be so simple. Lin Chen was enlightened and asked curiously, didn't you say that only Heaven Dipper realm stage 5 and below can enter the secret realm by consuming secret medicine? Sister, your cultivation has exceeded the limit, right? When you cured me of the poison for the second time, I purposely suppressed my cultivation so that it wouldn't rebound. That's why I was able to sneak into the secret realm. Bai Ruoyan stepped lightly on the void and floated up. Brother Lin Chen, I'll remember your kindness. From now on, I'll be in seclusion for a period of time. When I'm out, I'll look for you. I hope you can step into the Heaven Dipper realm. With your potential, the Heaven Dipper realm is just the beginning. Bai Ruoyan smiled and waved her hand. Lin Chen quickly asked, Sister Ruoyan, you're leaving so soon? My enemies aren't what you can imagine. Recovering my strength is the most important thing. See you. The fairy smiled sweetly and bid farewell to Lin Chen before transforming into a wisp of smoke in the horizon and silently vanishing. Looking at the direction where the beauty had left, Lin Chen's heart was filled with endless melancholy. She was like a fairy that only existed in the heavens. She was always by your side, but one day she suddenly left without any mental preparation. If you miss her so much, why don't you just go with her? A cold and ethereal voice came from behind. Lin Chen quivered. He had almost forgotten about his beautiful teacher. Teacher, let's go back to the academy together? Lin Chen smiled embarrassedly. Ling Yueqi looked at him coldly and said in a cold tone, Go back by yourself. I'm going back to my family. After saying that, Ling Yueqi stepped into the air, intending to leave. Lin Chen wanted to say something. Normally, He had a glib tongue, but now he didn't know what to say. Ling Yueqi saw all of this with her eyes. Seeing the youth standing there dejectedly, her beautiful figure paused for a moment before she calmly said, "My family is the Ling Yu family of the spirit state. If you have time, you can come and take a look." Hearing this, Lin Chen immediately became spirited again and said with a mischievous smile, "Teacher, the matter under the snow mountain. That will depend on whether you have the guts to come and find me after you participate in the General Academy examination." Ling Yueqi was like a nimble fairy, turning into a stream of light in the horizon. "I will definitely go. At that time, I will make a real wedding dress for teacher." Lin Chen shouted towards the direction where the beauty had left. He watched Ling Yueqi until she disappeared into the distance. "Let's return to the academy first. I wonder how everyone is doing." The true flame purple phoenix wings flapped with blazing purple flames. Lin Chen's figure instantly disappeared in the sky above the sea. The heavenly Qilin Island was extremely far from the desolate region. It passed through the nether region of the 24 regions. Previously, they could arrive so quickly because of Bai Ruoyern's team. Now that Lin Chen flew back with the purple phoenix wings, it would take at least half a month to reach the desolate region. With Lin Chen's foundation, flying at full speed with the true flame purple phoenix wings for half a month was a bit too much for him. If he summoned the ancient azure dragon, it would easily attract the attention of powerful masters. Not to mention that he was passing through the nether region. If he encountered 2 heaven realm masters, Lin Chen would not be able to escape so easily. 10 days later, 37,000 miles north of the nether region, Sky Tiger Dynasty. The Sky Tiger Dynasty was powerful and prosperous. The emperor was even respected as a heaven realm master. He had great power and unified the region. However, the dynasty had been developing for many years, causing the common people to suffer. The living environment of the officials and the common people was very different. In the capital of the dynasty, Lin Chen was wearing a cloak and a black robe. He looked like an ascetic cultivator passing by. He walked out of a restaurant. He had been passing by this dynasty for a day and a night. He was just temporarily looking for a place to rest and recover his spirit and consumed battle qi. "I have rested enough. Let's continue." Lin Chen found an empty alley. Just as he was about to spread the purple phoenix wings and fly into the sky, a streak of light flew across the sky at extreme speed. Lin Chen looked over. The streak of light flying across the sky was actually a pure and flawless snow-white flying horse. It had a pair of wings and its hooves stepped on the clouds. It was extraordinarily handsome. It rode on the clouds and flew towards the direction of the dynasty. However, on the snow-white flying horse stood 2 exquisite figures, one purple and one green. They instantly caught Lin Chen's attention. It's Ning Qingxian and Ning Qingxue? Lin Chen was shocked. The snow-white flying horse was extremely fast. It swept across the sky in an instant and flew towards the palace in the dynasty. Could it be that I saw wrongly? Who cares? Let's enter the imperial city first. The purple phoenix wings flapped and Lin Chen soared into the sky. The purple flames tore through the air and followed closely behind the flying horse. In the imperial city, in a pavilion in the back garden, the ministers kneeling outside the pavilion did not dare to breathe loudly. The people who arrived in the dynasty today were all famous alchemists in the nether realm. It was said that even some forces from the ancient times passed by here and personally treated the king's chronic illness. Not long after, a group of old men wearing noble medicine refining brocade robes walked out of the attic. They shook their heads and sighed repeatedly. "Sigh, this old man has refined medicine for so many years. This is the first time I've seen such a strange illness. It's too difficult. His Majesty cultivates the heavenly tiger heart-rending art. He has the heavenly tiger's strength and heart-rending battle qi in his body. But he just had to encounter a strange poison like the 7-inch poison." The 7-inch poison belongs to the Yin attribute. It is extremely difficult to remove. It also absorbs the positive Yang battle chi. His Majesty's Heavenly Tiger's strength has been completely absorbed and restrained. At this moment, a disdainful sneer entered everyone's ears. What a bunch of trash! What's so difficult about the 7-inch poison? It seems that the 24 regions are full of ignorant and incompetent trash. How dare you call yourselves alchemists? The young man sitting on the white jade soft chair said casually. He played with a pill recipe with one hand. He was wearing a white shirt and trousers. He had sharp eyebrows and phoenix eyes. His heroic spirit was compelling, and at the same time, there was a sense of unruliness. He looked down on all the alchemists present. Chapter 151. Who do you think you are? How dare you speak so arrogantly? Do you know who we are? When this old man was refining medicine, you were still in your mother's womb. Where did this yellow-haired brat come from? This young friend, may I ask if you have any advice? The white-robed youth spoke rudely, causing all the alchemists to be displeased. Some were already enraged and wanted to chase this child away. A bunch of lowly trash. Get lost. The youth waved his sleeves and kept the elixir recipe in his palm. A transparent battle chi wave was like a tsunami. Pong, pong, pong. 9th level of the Earth Realm? That's not right. How can a 9th level Earth Realm martial artist have such strength? The remaining alchemists were shocked and had appalled expressions. The veteran alchemist that was sent flying was also at the 9th level of the Earth Realm. But the difference between the two of them was like heaven and earth. This youth's strength wasn't as simple as his cultivation on the surface. Danqing, what are you doing? An ethereal voice that sounded like the sound of nature descended in front of the pavilion. The white-robed youth immediately withdrew his hand and bowed respectfully. All the alchemists were astonished. The snow-white Pegasus swept up a violent wind and landed in the courtyard. The kneeling officials quickly opened up a path. The purple muslin was soft and didn't reveal the beauty's true appearance. There weren't many decorations, and her long black hair cascaded down to her waist. A pair of purple gem-like eyes were spinning with ethereal elegance. When she walked over leisurely, it was as though time and space were frozen. Her beauty surpassed all the beautiful sceneries in the world. The beauty's bones revealed an innate nobility, and no one dared to have any disrespectful thoughts in their hearts. It was as though she was a supreme that was born by the heavens and earth. It was Ning Qingxian. Lin Chen met her once before. She was like a fairy and was suspected to be a saint lady. She actually appeared in the Sky Tiger dynasty. Behind Ning Qingxian was the mischievous Ning Qingxue, who followed her closely. Greetings to young lady. The white-robed youth's eyes flashed with deep admiration and reverence. He knelt on one knee and lowered his head respectfully. Danqing, I should have instructed that we are not to kill the innocent. If there's a next time, you can go back to your clan yourself. His ordinary tone caused the white-clothed young man's entire body to tremble. A look of panic flashed across his face as he hurriedly said, Yes, Danqing accepts the order. How's the matter I asked you to do? Can the emperor of this dynasty still be saved? Ning Qingxian asked seriously. The white-clothed young man replied respectfully. To answer, miss, I have a 50% chance of curing him. As for the remaining 50%, it will depend on his own luck. This person is already deeply poisoned, and his cultivation realm just so happens to meet the requirements of the poison. The poison is no small matter. The young man in white had an arrogant look on his face as he raised his voice. The expressions of the alchemists behind him all changed. A 50% probability. This was already a rather high probability. If it was really like this, then it could only mean that this young man's alchemy level was absolutely not on the same level as theirs. Hee, then this old man will sit back and watch your excellencies move. A blue-clothed old man sneered. He was one of the Nether Realm's famous Tier 5 alchemists. Even he himself did not have a 20% chance of curing him. Clearly, he did not think that the white-clothed young man had this kind of ability. The ministers outside the pavilion did not dare to interrupt at all because there were not many people they could afford to offend here today. The entire Sky Tiger dynasty still had to rely on them to save their emperor's life. If it wasn't for Mrs. Instructions not to see blood, I would be able to deal with you lowly commoners with just one palm. The white-clothed young man transmitted his voice disdainfully. The former's expression was gloomy and uncertain. He stood up and respectfully asked for instructions. Since it is Mrs. Request, then Danqing will definitely do his best. Please enter the pavilion, Mississippi. Ning Qingxian nodded. She was about to enter the pavilion with Ning Qingxue when she suddenly turned around with a trace of a smile in her beautiful eyes. I didn't think that I would actually see you again here. The world is truly unpredictable. Don't you think so, Mr. Linchen? Everyone was shocked. As soon as Ning Qingxian finished speaking, the snow-white Pegasus suddenly let out a long neigh. It was suppressed and frightened by some kind of aura. Wrong. Miss Ning Qingxian is not Mr. Linchen. It is the elegant, handsome, and unrivaled little black dragon in the waves, Lin Chen. Purple flames engulfed the young man in silver robes. He was handsome and elegant, and there was a confident and calm smile on his face from the beginning to the end. Retracting his purple wings, Lin Chen walked slowly to Ning Qingxian. Ning Qingxue stuck her head out from behind Ning Qingxian and stared at Lin Chen with a smile. Wait, where did you come from, lowly commoner? How dare you approach my miss? The white-clothed young man's expression was sinister. He stood in front of the two girls and suddenly shouted coldly. His shoulders shook, and the raging waves of battle chi surged into the sky, knocking the ministers 100 meters away. Many Disha realm guards were so shaken that they could not even stand properly. The battle chi gale swept over and tried to forcefully suppress Lin Chen and embarrass him in front of everyone. However, Lin Chen stood calmly in the center of the battle chi gale. He stood there without moving and even took a step forward with a smile. 7th level of the Earth Realm? How long has it been? He is already at the 7th level of the Earth Realm. When he fought with Big Sister previously, he was only at the Spirit Connection Realm. Ning Qingxue covered her small mouth and sized up Lin Chen with curious eyes. This speed of advancement might be slightly comparable to the people in their clan. Aya, this brother is really considerate. How did you know that I came all the way here to look for little sister Qingxian? I was sweating profusely and wanted to take a breather. You are too considerate. Big brother, I should learn from you. I just can't do this. I am always so considerate. Lin Chen walked up and grabbed the white-clothed young man's palm. He secretly circulated the ancient Azure Dragon's power and exerted a little more strength. His strength was already over 990,000 tigers. Huh. How did you? The white-clothed young man's mouth twitched. How could this kid's strength be so terrifying? His pure strength was far beyond the limits of the Earth Realm. All right, Mr. Lin Chen. Why are you looking for me? Ning Qingxian intentionally stood in front of the white-clothed young man and smiled indifferently. Lin Chen understood and immediately let go of his hand. He spoke with a mocking tone, "Can't I look for you if I don't have a reason? I don't remember there being such a rule between us, right? Hey, don't you dare take advantage of my big sister like last time. Otherwise, I will personally teach you a lesson." Ning Qingxue wrinkled her delicate nose and pretended to be fierce as she snorted. Last time was a misunderstanding. Moreover, I didn't take advantage of her that much. I only touched her once. Your big sister also touched me a few times. If we were to talk about it, I was the one at a disadvantage. Lin Chen's shameless behavior angered Ning Qingshuo so much that she pursed her cherry lip. Her beautiful eyes were like a little white rabbit staring at Lin Chen fiercely. Last time? Took advantage of her? Touched her once? The white-clothed young man was shocked. His thin lips trembled and he gritted his teeth. His eyes were burning with jealousy. That handsome face faintly became a little ferocious and murderous. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.